All right, welcome back to A2Z Movie Night, where a few film nerds gather around a bottle of whiskey. We got Benchmark tonight. Nice. To watch a movie. A2Z Movie Night may contain spoilers and is intended for a mature audience. Listeners' discretion is advised.
No, these idiot kids. All you history buffs listening, you know what I'm talking about? You got that reference. I mean,
He just laid down on a slab and just died there.
That's a great one, Tim. I got nothing. That's a great one. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
he's like, my name's Zach Bowman, and you know, I just really like movie too. It has nothing to do with my.
And he drank every day starting at 10 o'clock.
All right, guys, I'm your host, Aaron. I'm here with my co-host. I have Zach over here and I have Tim.
Hello.
The OGs are back. Tonight we are watching the ultra classic, the eternal Jurassic Park.
Yes. In Steven Spielberg's massive blockbuster, paleontologists Alan Grant and Ellie Slater and mathematician Ian Malcolm are among a select group chosen to tour an island theme park populated by dinosaurs created from prehistoric DNA. While the park's mastermind, billionaire John Hammond, assures everyone that the facility is safe, they find out otherwise when various ferocious predators break free and go on the hunt.
I'm so
Now,
fucking excited.
if for some of y'all, if this is your first time listening, we always start off with the cheers, obviously, and you can watch along with us at home.
We'll do a countdown at the beginning, and
we're off to the races.
yeah, so let's do this in 3, 2, 1.
cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Welcome to another A to Z movie night.
What a great pick, Zach.
This is one of our first real big blockbusters we've done.
We usually do cover more like indie classics, you know, like cult favorites and stuff like that, things that didn't really do well in the box office.
This has been on my list since we started.
And this might be like the most blockbustery, successful thing we've ever done.
Well, that's one of the biggest blockbusters ever made. And again, if y'all don't understand what we do here, we're going to tell you, we're going to spill some of our insider knowledge. You'll learn some, laugh some. We'll fill in the gaps with our silly stories, and this is what we do. So hopefully you learn something you never heard before, and hopefully we make you laugh a little bit along the way.
And let us know in the comments what version you're watching. Are you watching an old VHS, like the one you dug out of the closet? Are you watching it on digital stream, DVD, 4K, the remastered 3D version that Tim brought?
Which is worth, yeah. If you do have a 3D television at home, I highly recommend that 3D remaster. It's pretty impressive.
I don't even think they sell 3D TVs anymore, do they? That kind of fell off.
Yeah, because now it's all Ultra HD and stuff like that. A lot of the companies aren't even releasing the 3D Blu-rays anymore, which is sad to me.
You know what movie ruined 3D?
Clash of the
Titans. God dang
It
it.
just became gimmicky.
It was a cash grab.
Obviously, this was based on the Michael Crichton novel.
Very different, though.
Very, very
Extremely
different.
different.
All the characters are really changed up, almost opposites. John Hammond in the book is just money hungry. He's not like the benevolent grandfather, nice guy that you get in this movie. And also, spoilers, we said that, but if you haven't seen Jurassic Park, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah. How did you even find us if you've never seen Jurassic Park?
Good on you if you're even still listening. Based on the book, this was a really crazy way to open this movie. It starts off very scary. So, parents, this was PG, but they still strongly in the marketing were like, hey, you still may not want to bring your kids to this because there are a lot of scary elements to it.
What, it's PG?
Yeah.
That's actually hard to believe,
Jesus.
really. But it is true. Like they don't, they're not very gratuitous in this movie. It's all about the suspense.
It's not bloody or
They do really well letting
the
your
deaths happen
imagination
off screen.
Yeah, filling in the gaps.
Yeah, except for this death.
Yeah, right.
This poor schmuck.
Yeah, you see some
This seems
some bodies.
What?
Well,
That's safety protocol. What?
That's just an industrial accident. That's
But the sound effects they used for the raptors, they used baby dolphins and rhinoceroses. I think
It's a combination of a lot of different sounds.
because the T-Rex was like baby elephant. Oh God, my daughter would be able to tell you a rhino and something else, a hippo, I believe. It's really pretty creative how they came up with the sounds because we don't know what dinosaurs sounded like.
well, we do now.
Yeah, well,
That's a big thing.
because Jurassic Park 3.
A lot of the science of this movie
I mean, that's-
ages really, really poorly.
Yeah, well,
Actually, I heard a retort to that because I always kind of I hated on this thing for a little while because when they did the Jurassic World movies, they kept them looking without the feathers because we know that most of them had feathers now.
yeah.
And I was like hated it. They like refused to do that, and then there was a fan theory that because they've
genetically altered
well
them.
because they used amphibian or like
Yeah,
frog
to fill in the
DNA.
gaps.
Right.
These aren't legit dinosaurs.
Yeah, they're man-made. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
They had
Yeah.
the oh god damn it, what's his name? The very famous paleontologist. Look up his name. He was their paleontologist consultant on this.
There's a famous
John.
paleontologist.
Well, he had been on some shows. He'd been on some Discovery, like National Geographic stuff before.
I'm surprised it's not
John
I'm surprised it's
something.
not David Attenborough because
Yeah.
it's Richard Attenborough's
Yeah.
brother.
Um,
yeah,
John
that's
Robert
right.
Horner.
John Horner. They kept him on
I
set.
forgot they're brothers, dude.
Yeah.
I totally.
I
Forgot
didn't
about it,
I didn't know that until like maybe a year or two ago, and it blew my mind. It's like the Attenboroughs, man. You gotta love them.
But what about that paleontologist you were talking about?
Well,
Tim?
they kept him. He was the first guy. The guy that they used on this film was the first guy to propose the theory that they're closer to birds than reptiles.
Right.
I mean, raptor even meets bird of prey.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he can back up his theories pretty.
Well, that's the scene that's coming up where where he talks about
Yeah.
basically like they're big chickens or something like
yeah,
that.
they look more like a because he will tell you that they didn't die out; they evolved into birds.
Yeah.
Well, the very large ones died out because they needed too
Yeah.
much biologically. So the small ones did evolve into birds. Yeah.
But what's interesting is that like at this time, a lot of this was pretty fresh knowledge, and there was a couple of books I read that are basically about the history of science, and one of the things that I found out is whenever I was a kid and this movie had come out, probably mid '90s, like when I was first in school, I remember seeing like those little in your textbooks they have the little side box that has I remember seeing one that said they believe that there's a theory that a meteorite wiped them out or whatever, like, and I was reading this book about science history, and it mentioned that like they had just like they had theorized that back in the 80s or whatever, but it takes a long time for the entire community to come to agreement and make it fact or make it the knowledge, and around the time that I saw that was just about the time that was starting to be like legitimized.
In the late 80s, there was a big resurgence in paleontology because there was several.
Because dinosaurs are cool.
Well, there was several like huge finds like along across America. Like they were starting to like really find like a lot of shit, like multiple fossils, in condensed areas. So the world kind of started paying attention to it again.
But on top of that is its reputation got completely ruined because in the original days, whenever they were finding them,
yeah, there was two competing paleontologists.
It was competing
making shit up.
Yeah, and they were just they were saying they were discovering new species, but they were just like
They were
making
just
shit
putting
up.
stuff together.
And once they got found out, a lot of that got discredited, and it took a very long time for that whole field.
It's a remarkably slow, painstaking profession to be in.
Absolutely.
But on top of it, think of how much we have destroyed over human
Yeah,
history because we weren't looking for it.
Well, fossil fuels. It's right there in the name, fossil fuels.
That's a misconception, Tim.
Yeah.
Our fossils are actually much, much older than dinosaurs. They're based on coral reefs that existed far, far, far older than dinosaurs.
They completely changed his character in the book. He loves kids and is very like open and jovial guy. Just for whatever reason, Spielberg changed it to where he doesn't really like kids, and then he put him with the two little kids the whole movie.
Yeah.
To kind of create
Have a dynamic.
He thought there was a better dynamic, and
So that's already-
he's Spielberg. He made the right decision.
It's a trope of like butting heads. They end up liking each other.
because he ends up growing very fond of the kids towards the end of the movie.
So like that's already
This kid
what
grew
are we,
up to be
5
somebody.
minutes? We're like 5 minutes of the movie. That's already like two things from the novel that are completely and utterly different.
Not from the front, but from the side.
But this was a lot of people got their knowledge of dinosaurs from this movie.
Oh, dude, I mean this
That little kid grew up to be somebody. I can't remember what.
We haven't done the why we picked this movie or anything like that, and I guess I'll just jump into that. This movie, it made me who I am today. It made me fall in love with movies. It made me fall in love with science, with dinosaurs. Like this, like as a kid, the Jurassic Park series was my shit. Like,
look up that kid, or it's going to drive me nuts. Because he grew up to be an actor, I believe. I've seen things about it. Like, hey, so-and-so, he was that... Remember that kid from Jurassic Park? He grew up to be this or whatever.
I agree with you, Zach, and I love this movie. This is maybe like the third movie I ever saw in theaters, and I saw it in Silsbee, at the Silsbee Theater at the Pines whenever it was brand new, when it first came out. And this scene sticks out in my mind because I don't know why, for some reason or other, I wasn't paying attention to the beginning until this happened. I remember like right where I was sitting on the back row. I was like 5 years old. So
it's crazy because they used that scene.
It's
and
like
that
very
scene,
visceral.
Like it got that kid's attention.
Yeah,
but it also got everybody. It got everybody in the audience.
Yeah.
Well, it was good for the movie because raptors were going to be the main villain of the film. So right off the bat, we get a little backstory on raptors to make them scary. So that when we see them on screen later on, we're like, oh, these guys are not to be fucked with.
Well, I mean, the opening scene, and then now it's going like this is what happened to that guy.
What a dick move! He shows up in the helicopter and fucks their whole dick.
Joseph Mazzillo.
He didn't do anything. I think you're thinking of a Sandlot kid or something because he looks like a Sandlot kid.
He was in The Social Network.
Huh. Somehow Hammond is like the Wizard of Oz. He's already in there.
What the hell do you think you're doing?
Well, he's rich.
He's already in their trailer.
We were saving that.
Today, I guarantee it.
I would like to give a little spoiler, even though we haven't seen the raptors. They call them velociraptors in this movie, but real velociraptors are about the size of like a
they're
Springer Spaniel.
They're much smaller, yeah.
What they actually are in this movie are Montana
adults.
raptors.
Yeah,
Montana raptors were 6 feet tall. Which I don't know why they even changed it because they're clearly like in Montana Badlands right now.
Yeah,
which is what it's named after. So that's accurate. But then they wanted maybe velociraptors.
Well, they had to make them scarier.
A cooler
for the movie.
name. Yeah.
Yeah, they wanted them.
They want to sell more toys. They want to sell that one toy where the big chunk of meat comes out of the side.
Yeah.
Oh, and I had the toys.
I wish you still did.
Yeah, the marketing they did for this
thing's
movie.
Like worth $700 right now.
They said no movie had done as much marketing except for the '89 Batman. Just with like franchising the fuck. Everybody knew this movie was going to be a hit. So McDonald's got on board. The toy companies got on board. The Super Nintendo game. I don't even remember
Super Nintendo.
They paid.
Oh, it was great. It was like a side-scrolling platformer.
Well, yeah, they had a side-scroll, and then they had a
game.
top view down one too. But they paid $1 million just to get the rights for the game before they even started developing it.
And there were a lot of like weird offshoot things from Jurassic Park too. Like there was like a Chaos. They called it Chaos, and it was like a kind of like a side brand. And they looked crazier. They had like metal on them and stuff, almost like Cyberpunk.
There was the Primal Rage fighting game.
I remember that game was awesome. I was in 5th grade in art class, and she wanted us to draw like a comic or something like that. And I was like, I love these dinosaur things. I'll basically do that, but my own. And she basically tried to. She thought I was plagiarizing because she didn't think I knew what the word chaos means.
Park is it?
This
It's right up your alley.
They stole those glasses from Thirsties, dude.
This movie, I mean,
you see that look?
Yeah.
They stole those glasses from Thirsties.
They every kid I think goes through a dinosaur phase when they're young.
Oh yeah, my nephew is right now.
My daughter went through a huge dinosaur phase, and she's starting to get back into them again. She's so fascinated by it. And Spielberg even said that he did this because he, as a little kid, dinosaurs. He made this movie for everybody that ever wondered or was mystified by dinosaurs. A little fun fact, Zach. This was the first film ever to use DTS.
What's DTS?
DTS is the sound system, digital theater sound.
It's a sound standard. Right?
Yeah, it's just like Dolby Digital.
Okay.
They Dolby, I think, first came out. I think was Terminator 2 was the first film to use Dolby, or it might have been before that. It might have been like the.
What was that, like 1-2 years before this?
Yeah, but this was, and Spielberg even wouldn't let some theaters show this movie if they didn't upgrade their sound systems.
Oh, that's still a
to
thing.
DTS.
Because the new thing now is the
Atmos.
And
So DTS is
they're
just
actually
a standard, isn't it?
they're actually they're
Yeah,
taking
Dolby
they're
Theater
taking
standard,
Atmos and they're
Well,
trying
DTS, so that's like PS4, Xbox. You know,
Yeah,
people
yeah.
are like, is Dolby Digital better or is DTS better? And a lot of people, when this came, the Laserdisc, when this came out, people couldn't wait to get their hands on the DTS Laserdisc because Spielberg said that is the only way to watch this film. If you really truly hear this movie how he intended, you need to have DTS.
A funny little sidebar about this scene right here is Chris Sastry. He thought I looked so much like this guy Dotson that he used to do this bit for about a year. Anytime we would see each other, he would be like, "Hey, we got Dotson here," and I'd be like, "Are you done yet, dude?"
Nobody cares.
Yeah, nobody cares. It was fun. I miss
Of
my
course,
homies.
the great Wayne Knight, Newman.
that fucking Barbasol can. Like this movie just has everything. Like
I remember that was so cool, like seeing that. You're like, oh,
I
that's
wanted
cool.
one. Yeah, did you want? Yeah, I wanted
Well, you
one.
could go to head shops and buy it, and that's how you would hide your weed in them. You know,
but it has cool technology. It has like an affable rich old man. It has scientists, and then Jeff Goldblum comes up, and then it has the cool guy.
Bro, it's got Sam Jackson in it,
the
dog.
cool guy, the hunter guy.
Yeah.
It's like badass.
That
And
guy
Sam
was
Jackson
badass.
is like a grumpy old worker dude. Like it has the
You know it's
espionage.
got them special Jeep
and then
Wranglers, dude.
Alan Grant
It's got
is
the
kind of like
special
an
Jeep
Indiana
Wranglers.
Jones type character.
Uh-huh.
You know, he's the paleontologist, archaeologist. He's got the hat. So you got Indiana Jones. You got, sadly, the guy that the raptor hunter guy or whatever.
Uh-huh.
He
Clever girl.
He passed away in '99 from cancer.
I mean that character basically.
But he was so cool.
But that character, I mean, he was so cool, and that character is, or a type of that dude is in almost every Jurassic Park. Now the newer
That
ones,
kind of a character,
the newer
yeah.
ones, they combine that character and Grant basically.
Yeah, into Chris Pratt. Yeah.
Okay, so I look at the Jurassic Park series. I don't really include the new ones in there, but yeah, no.
Have you seen him?
I haven't seen the newest one.
It's not that great.
So out of the three original ones,
Jurassic World was basically what Force Awakens was to Star Wars.
Yes.
They just redid this movie.
Yeah.
And it was the safe bet, and it worked. It was a phenomenal success. But it's basically like what Force Awakens did.
Yeah.
Jurassic World did a soft reboot, basically.
Yeah.
But you know,
What's funny is
it was
that,
the same movie, basically.
Yeah, you make that Star Wars connection, and here we see the character who was like one of the most hated characters in any Star Wars movie right here sitting Lena Durham, right? Wait,
No, that's not. Oh no, Laura Dern. Oh yeah,
Laura Dern. Why I said the wrong name? I'm sorry. But yeah,
Yeah,
Laura Dern
even
was
see
in like the most hated
This
Star Wars
theme-
movie of all time, and she was the most hated character.
most hated character, and they gave her the coolest thing.
This theme gives me chills every fucking time I hear it. The John Williams music in this movie, still, there's this slower version of this later, the melody. I mean, it's. I'm sorry, I'll say it. It still brings tears to my eyes sometimes. I mean,
It's high adventure.
it's he captured the wonder of what it would be like. I mean, John Williams just obviously.
well, back to what I was asking. 2 and 3, and this is kind of contentious. Which one was better out of 2 and 3?
I'd say 2.
Yeah.
Even though, I mean, they both have their parts.
A majority of people seem to think 3 is better, and everybody shits on 2. But I loved Lost World. I thought it was excellent.
I think 2 was more in line with number 1 than 3 was, and a lot of people don't like number 3 because it was a departure.
Little trivia, and that's why we do this.
Absolutely.
The Jurassic Park: The Lost World is the only sequel that Steven Spielberg has ever made.
Wait, really?
Yeah, he hates sequel. Oh no, well never mind. What am I talking about? Indiana Jones.
Oh,
Other than Indiana Jones, this is the only time he ever did a sequel. The Lost World was a sequel.
so this movie reeks of Spielberg. John Williams is doing the thing. Steven Spielberg and George Lucas are huge buddies. Did George Lucas have any hand in this besides
No.
the audio and his company?
No, they use other than Skywalker sound.
Yeah.
They use Industrial Light and Magic. Okay, since you brought, I'll go ahead and say it now. Since you brought up George Lucas, Industrial Light and Magic did all the
motherfucking Jeeps right there, dog.
They did
there's a like a replica in town actually.
There's one of the last Comic Cons I went to. They had a replica there, and you could pay like $5 to sit in it, and they'd take your picture and stuff in the Jurassic Park Jeeps. That was pretty cool. So they used Industrial Light and Magic, which was George Lucas's place. You know, Stan Winston, who is the legendary Stan Winston, he did the
Obviously.
Alien Queen. He did,
legend.
but he did the animatronics in this. Dennis Muren, who worked on Star Wars, did. So they were originally going to do this film stop motion and animatronics. No computer generation. They were like stop motion, like King Kong, Jason and the Argonauts. And Phil Tippett, who also worked
It was
on
probably going to look better than Harryhausen, but yeah.
Well, yeah, there's some test footage out there that is actually really impressive stop motion. And Phil Tippett was doing all the stop motion because he had worked on the Star Wars films. And then Dennis Muren, who they basically worked in the same place. Dennis Muren came in and said, "Hey, check out this new technology we're working on. I think you might like it." And he did a test thing of the scene later on. The Dilophosaurus are running through the valley and the T-Rex is chasing them. He did a rough thing of that, just their skeletons running through there, and showed it to Spielberg, and Spielberg was fucking blown away. And
Like the framework?
yeah, just going,
yeah.
this is how we're going to do this. Like, he realized that CGI was going to work, and it was in that moment that he goes, we're not doing stop motion, it's CGI. And there was, obviously, we get our first glimpse of that. I mean, imagine I was 11 years old, seeing this in the theater.
And you literally had not seen anything like this.
The
ever
trailers
before.
showed
Yeah.
you next to nothing.
Yeah.
The only thing you saw in the trailer was like the T-Rex, the close-up, the T-Rex's foot coming down. I mean, this was your first shot.
And that holds up.
It still holds up. This
Like, how many years later?
This music right here,
Almost 30.
Almost 30 years.
the slowed down version, it just captures that sense of wonder and awe.
Dude, one of my favorite memes is like it's a janky meme. And
It's a little shiny, but it still holds up.
It plays this theme like on a kazoo.
Oh, yeah, it's really shitty.
I love that meme. Dude.
Yeah.
There's a lot. There's so many good memes from this movie.
There really is. Yeah.
Oh, they made a huge giant statue of Jeff Goldblum in Paris and put it by the fucking Eiffel
His
Tower.
sexy lean?
His sexy lean with the shirt back.
My favorite meme from it is Dr. Grant. You know, whenever he listens, he the sick Triceratops, and they took that and put it on top of Jeff Goldblum.
Oh yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Well, the best one, and this music swells. Oh man,
They got the weight.
yeah,
right.
the weight. Yeah, you feel the weight of that thing landing.
So we're kind of talking about the CGI of this film right
what he
now,
was-
and the thing is why also it's really so magical when you watched it was because it was so far and above and beyond, and then it even sat with you years afterwards because even like let's take a really high production value thing like Walking with Dinosaurs. You remember that documentary? Millions of dollars were spent to make the dinosaurs look as real as possible, and that came out I think in like the year 2000. And this already
Still
looked
looked
better,
better, yeah.
7 years before.
Still look better.
So it was mystifying. You're like, what the hell? And it doesn't even.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine the first time seeing that, and you're in '93. You've never seen what we know now. Like we still think that looks great.
Yeah,
You know,
it brings a tear to your eye.
because they get all the effects of it being real, right? Like the shimmer, the blur. But like I couldn't imagine seeing this in the theater in '93. Like just mind-boggling.
It changed.
Yeah.
It literally
Which
changed the
world,
world. It changed the way we made movies forever. And we were talking about, just before I forget, we were talking about memes. The best one I think to come out of this is when Steven Spielberg went to the set and saw the sick Triceratops.
Oh yeah.
And there's that famous picture of him sitting on the ground next
Like
to
trophy hunting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it goes, "This is not okay." People made a meme. This guy posed, we killed this innocent animal, and there's people out there that bought it.
The amount of people
that were
fell
like,
for that.
that were like,
Pissed.
Dog.
this guy should not. This is not okay. He's trophy hunting. These animals
that-
are going extinct.
that
It's like,
blew
are
up,
y'all fucking really serious?
That blew up around the time of the Cecil the lion thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So
you were
that's-
like,
that's not a
oh
rhino,
my
you
god,
idiot."
that's a heavenly creature, and you killed it.
First of all, the fact that they didn't recognize it was Steven Spielberg.
amusement park in the entire world.
I suggest that if you are a dinosaur fan, that you go to the Houston Museum of Natural Science and see their dinosaur exhibit.
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
It's so great. I've been 3 or 4 times, and I'll definitely go again.
Word to the wise, though. Most of those skeletons and things that you see in museums aren't.
Most of them are replicas.
Yeah.
They're replicas. They're plaster cast.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of them. It's almost like every month they find out that they built it wrong.
Yeah. We're
Like,
constantly learning new things.
Still
about
to
them.
this day, they realize that wait, that was over there, or that's from a different animal. Like
This would be hilarious if that was his brother in the
It
video.
was Richard Attenborough.
Yeah,
or David.
Oh,
Yeah,
David.
David.
Yeah. Sorry, I got.
that would be crazy
I mean,
if he was talking to his brother right here. That'd be pretty cool.
It's not too far fetched.
Well, let me show you. First,
I don't know why,
I
but
need a drop of blood.
it's still
Your blood.
is stuck in my head to this day. And every now and then, I'll just be doing something, and all of a sudden, I'll just be like a dinosaur.
Dinosaur.
Because the way that this thing says it is so funny
Yeah.
to me. It's
Oh yeah, the little DNA guy.
it's infected my brain, and I'll never stop saying. Now we took dinosaurs.
Of course, the most quoted line from this film is "Life finds a way."
What? What?
This scene is exposition. If there was ever a fucking a scene that was strictly here for exposition, it's this scene right here.
But they did it right.
They did it right. They made it kind of funny, and it makes the audience go. It makes the audience in 1993 sit in the theater going, "Okay, I can kind of buy that."
But you know,
that kind of makes sense that they could do that.
Like we said about the kid, like how not only yes, the kid got had a realization whenever he did that thing, but everybody in the audience did too. Like, I'm just realizing that even this scene is the same kind of thing.
Yeah,
you know? It's
and Jeff Goldblum's character Ian Malcolm. He's the character in the movie that there's lots of scenes where he's talking to himself because he's talking to the audience. So he's like the everyman, basically, that the audience kind of. He's the guy that's here. He's out of his
the exposition man.
Yeah, he's out of his depth, and a lot.
well, he's the one. He's the audience. He's saying, "Oh, this is crazy."
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't go in there.
He's speaking for the audience. Yeah, he's the guy that we identify, and obviously is the standout character from this film.
So here's a funny science thing. I guess I'm gonna be like science guy, but the half-life of DNA is only 500 years old. So every 500 years when something dies, half of its DNA is corrupted and unusable.
Yeah, but they didn't know that.
Well, I mean, I know. I'm just saying. I'm just gonna point out all
Don't
this.
ruin the mystery
I'm
of
gonna
it.
point out all the science shit that's
Yeah.
wrong, dog. I'm gonna do it. I have to balance the sucking of this movie's dick a little bit. All right.
So, like I was saying earlier with the effects, they were gonna do it stop motion. Dennis Muren came in and said, "Check this out," and Spielberg was like, "Oh yeah," but they still use a whole hell of a lot of animatronics in here, which was Stan Winston. A lot of the T-Rex is animatronic, especially that first time we see him. And
Basically, anytime an actor touches or is really
Yeah.
near.
sometimes
dinosaur.
though, you can tell when it switches from CG to animatronic. There's some parts that are like, oh, that's a little more noticeable than I remember it being, but it still works.
Written yet, and then of course the tour moves on.
And of course, we got the slimy lawyer guy that's just going, "We're gonna make a fucking fortune off this place."
He should have been noting all the OSHA violations the whole time.
What do you think?
Well, he's there representing the investors.
Right.
He just sees dollar signs.
There's a continuing thing that happens to Grant through this movie with like seatbelts or something like that. Like the seatbelt in the helicopter wasn't there, he had to tie it. With this, he has this thing here.
Yeah.
Like I wonder what
It's foreshadowing
They did it
of
intentionally.
it's basically like hinting at the shoddiness of all this or the fragility.
Yeah.
It's showing that these systems are
like
are
they haven't
fragile.
thought it all
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. They're
Right.
still.
That really is the big message. Is like
It's unfinished.
hubris.
Yeah, it's the hubris of the fact. Because in the book, John Hammond is much more hubris. He's blind to a lot of the stuff. He just wants to get this fucking park open.
And there's a lot more.
I don't think it's so much
about,
as that. Is like he just it's like the whole scientist folly of
Yeah.
of not thinking about what.
It's the Icarus
There is the
complex.
very famous B.D. Wong, who they brought back in Jurassic World.
Oh yeah, they did.
In the book, he gets killed in the first movie, but
He's a good character.
they saved him. He's a great character. He's the psychologist on Law and Order SVU, which
Always love
is
that.
great.
Oh, perfect timing.
Yeah,
In the book, they really like highlight a lot more of like the computers and the systems that run this, and like viruses and like the gremlins in the system, and that's a
Yeah.
whole different sort of thing. They don't
which
really highlight.
then the little girl is like a computer nerd,
Yeah,
so of
yeah.
course they could play that in that she can hack.
I'm sure we all
I
have.
love it.
Hacking was big in the 90s.
Yeah, in the early 90s, hacking, everybody could fucking hack. Just that word.
hacking in the mainframe, bro.
This is some great animatronic work by Stan Winston. There's
It's
basically
just every scene.
there's basically a guy under the table with a bunch of wires and stuff, kind of just
A
pushing
little puppet, yeah.
pushing it out.
Like every scene is just. It's a fucking classic. It will always be a classic. Like
It-
this.
They can keep making Jurassic Parks forever, and none of them will ever be as good as this first one.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
The technology gets better, but I mean,
It's the heart. This
They're-
movie
they're-
has heart.
the next one
The
is
new ones are
they're working on the next one already.
like I'm sure the people that work on it and are doing it care, but
But how many times can you open this fucking park? Like you can't keep doing the same story over it. It's like you can't.
eventually
you can't make. You
the
can't
world
make,
governments are going to be like, no, we're bombing
You
it.
can't make Home Alone 4 because at some point, or Taken 3, this
Right.
guy's just a shitty father. His
Right.
daughter keeps getting kidnapped. Like how many times do they open this park? Because every time the fucking dinosaurs kill everybody.
did you? Okay,
Well, the
so-
second one wasn't even opening it. It was
Yeah, they were
was
out
a
there just
mishap.
hunting them.
It's a mishap. Did you tell me? Did you guys ever read? There was a leaked script and a few like notes and stuff like that and drawings online about
They were going to put
the
laser beams on.
well the first Jurassic World like treatment, right?
they're
So
supposed to
after
have,
Jurassic
they're
Park
supposed to have
3,
weapons, right?
yeah, the first Jurassic Park
They were
3
gonna
when they
have
were
guns and
rebooting,
shit.
yeah. It was going to be really scary. It was going to be a lot more like genetic horror, and it was like DARPA, the defense. They
They
wanted
kept
to take
they
this.
kept some of those elements in there with Vince
Kinda-
Vaughn's character
yeah,
was
yeah.
trying to weaponize the Raptors because they
Oh, in
found
number
out
2?
in Lost World.
You mean in Lost World?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking like
no, not Lost World.
You're talking about Vincent
I'm talking
D'Onofrio's
about-
character.
Yeah, Jurassic World. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Not
They
Vincent D'Onofrio,
Vince
yeah.
D'Onofrio.
The training the Raptors is
They were-
like the what they were really trying to do is use them as
He was
weapons.
military
Yeah.
operations, yeah. So they kept some of the elements of that script in there because if I'm thinking of the right thing,
Yeah, no,
they
you
were
are.
they were
It's really
they
cool.
were
You
going to
can-
mount like guns and shit on Raptors and send them into places.
Yes, they
like,
were gonna be
that
like
they didn't want to
stealth
send.
soldiers.
Yeah, they could.
And it was a really cool
It would save
treatment.
human lives. It will send dinosaurs into war zones.
But it was too scary, and it was going to involve like
sounded-
dinosaur-human genetic hybrids.
sounded
And
ludicrous.
they tested it, and people just was like, "This is just too scary. No kids will ever go to this because it was
Yeah.
it was horrifying."
We can't make toys out of
But
this.
I wish
yeah.
they would have.
But that's kind of
cool.
kind of what
could have
this-
been horrible, or it could have been really awesome.
That's what this franchise became. Is it's we got no, they're bad people. They want to use these dinosaurs for this, and
Well, there's always in every one. There's always the bad human character that is.
out for their own ends.
Yeah, they're out for their own end.
or
So you,
mistreat. Yeah.
the person that you can point the finger at and go, that guy's definitely going to die.
Because not only have they not figured out all their systems and have everything locked in, also their people. Like it's basically
They didn't vet all their employees.
Yeah.
Because obviously Wayne Knight turns off
Dotson.
everything.
Oh yeah.
So they kind of throw that in there like, hey, it's not just that they're all idiots. This guy shut down the park so he could steal all the DNA samples for a rival trillionaire dude that wants
Probably
to make
in
his
China.
own. Yeah.
hubris.
Probably China. Fucking Chinaman.
This. I'm just gonna say it every time. This scene.
And they don't even show you like
It's just the sound effects.
Yeah. It's horrifying.
Like we'll have to make note of whenever we first actually see them. Because I don't think it's still.
This
Pretty late.
is how movies do this well. It's
This
just,
is a 2-hour movie. We saw our first dinosaur 20 minutes in.
We saw them in those fields. That was the first.
yeah, we haven't
Yeah,
seen
20 minutes
predators
in.
yet. We've seen herbivores.
But they've been
So
teasing this Velociraptor for.
yeah. So yeah, well, that's the good thing. That's how movies do it well. You tease it, and you don't show it till maybe about halfway in, so that if you do show it, people are like, 'Fuck!"
60 miles per hour if they ever got out in the open. And they're astonishing jumpers.
And thank God they spent time and effort on making them worth waiting for.
Yeah, exactly.
Extreme intelligence. Even
So do you know how there's
It's amazing that they invented the technology to do this in this film, and it's still one of the best examples of CGI ever. And they came up with the technology for this. I mean, they had used it in The Abyss and T2 the year before, but not to this kind of extent.
this extent, no.
I mean, and funny, the other two were James Cameron.
Yeah.
James Cameron and Spielberg have both been the guys that have always pushed the boundaries.
Technological limits.
Yeah. When somebody tells them that's impossible, they're like, well, you're going to fucking make
James
it.
Cameron a little more, but yeah.
It's kind of mind-boggling because, like, probably some of the main complaints from people like us for the last several decades is, the CGI looks like shit. I Am Legend, all those kind of movies,
takes
like,
you out
oh
of the film.
god damn, it looks terrible. I hate that they use CGI, all that. And it's like, oh, well, what's a good example of CGI? Jurassic Park. When was that made? Almost 30 years ago. Like, it's still that example, and they're still making shitty CGI movies. Like,
Well, anytime they can put it in frame, like using animatronics, they would do that in this film.
No.
Because that always works better. But this film was a cross between stop motion, animatronics, and CGI. I mean, they kind of bridged the gap to it. So when you use, he was smart about they didn't go, fuck, CGI is awesome, CGI everything. They still used animatronics. They still built that goddamn T-Rex.
Was it one of y'all that was telling me about? There's one thing about this movie where it's kind of like a callback to like a conversation they had or something like that, where it's basically like he figured out that you can't have it on screen for too long.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
They never show the whole thing.
Or not even the whole thing, but like whenever the CGI is on screen, it's on screen for maybe 2 seconds.
Yeah. And usually
And then they cut back, and then
Usually
they cut
it's
back.
dark or something. Yeah, they'll cut to animatronics.
Like they found the length that you can have before you start.
Like the T-Rex. The first time we see the T-Rex, for instance, a lot of that's animatronic until it starts chasing. And once they have to show the whole thing, then they switch to CGI.
Mm-hmm.
But like in this shot, we just need his foot to come down in frame. Like so, they actually built a part that was just T-Rex legs, nothing else, so that they could get close-ups with high detail. And then when they go wide shots where the whole thing has to be in frame, then they would CGI it.
Right.
And even then, they would keep it back in the distance, so you never had too long to really sit there and analyze it. You know, it would cut away, so you couldn't sit there and pick it apart.
Well, yeah. I mean, they wrote the movie to cover the limitations of what the technology was at the time. And one of the problems with modern movies is that they over-rely on the CGI because you can basically do anything you want.
Well, it's the whole showing too much.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
they
it's
blow
just-
their load. And,
It's not even that CGI is bad. Anything, there's a lot of purists out there that say like animatronics are much better, and you know I tend to agree with you. But CGI isn't inherently bad. It's just that when you use CGI in something that's poorly written, then it's gonna.
Well, sometimes they
absolutely-
rely too heavily on
well,
it.
Yeah.
but on top of that, if you
That's just
like,
bad writing.
i.e. the Star Wars.
But if you have like
Yeah.
if you have like this budget, like what they did is they minimized the CGI, right? But if you have this budget for special effects, and then you put 20, 30, 40 minutes of CGI in there, that you'll spend less money. You get a lower because you're doing a lot more of it. You can't get the best quality you can get. Whereas if you would have cut that down by 50%, then you'd get a higher quality, but it would be less of it. Like instead of packing it with CGI, use it where it's needed.
Yeah, that's what they said. Whenever they could do it in frame, because they would do it, they would use animatronics because
like with the Triceratops scene you were talking about.
Well, yeah. And the close up of the T-Rex, I'll show you. I'll point out some shots.
like the head.
Because some of the best acting is reacting.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, like for instance, with Ian McKellen on The Hobbit,
On The
going,
Hobbit.
"I'm standing on a green stage all day long.
yeah,
This sucks. I have
absolutely,
nothing
yeah.
to act with."
That's the difference in Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Yeah.
Some of the best acting is reacting. So if they could give the actors something to work with, that was usually better.
So they're having the big talk about, you're crazy. This is dangerous.
You're playing God.
Playing
Yeah.
God.
But he talks him into it by convincing him.
Let's take a
of this-
tour.
He like talks him into it based on the scientific value of studying these animals in a facsimile habitat.
Aren't you curious?
Yeah. But they're not really the proper animals. They are abominations because they do have amphibious splicing of DNA. Another thing I was going to say, like, so
They got fucking lucky that that's actually scientifically
Well, yeah,
accurate
that
retcon.
some frogs can change their sex.
Yeah.
Due to their environment.
Oh, don't give it away.
No,
Everybody's
everybody's
seen this fight.
They've all
I
seen
thought
it,
that
come
was
on.
really cool that they put that. That's how they got away with.
I meant but the idea of this is why they don't look like what they like.
Oh,
that's
there's a
they got
second
so
cool
lucky
vehicle.
about
They
that.
got those Land Rover Discoveries. They got Jeeps and Land Rovers, dog.
Those aren't discos, are they?
Yeah, those are old discos, too. Those are 90s discos.
No, that's a Ford Explorer.
Those are the ones that are like on the.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Oh
That is a
no,
Ford.
yeah, they had
That's a Ford Explorer. Yeah.
car deals. Yeah,
That's
like-
a Ford Bronco, too.
That's not a Bronco, too. It's too long. It's an Explorer.
If you remember,
Google
they.
it.
Oh look, she said this thing has CD-ROM. She's all excited. She goes, look, this thing has CD-ROM. Remember CD-ROM?
I remember CD-ROMs.
What am I?
What's that? What's that, Tim?
Yeah. Oh, that was before you.
Compact
Yeah, it was
disc?
a Ford Explorer XLT.
Oh, okay.
I remember.
Well, fuck
I remember.
me, dude.
I remember
I'm a truck guy. And
I remember the
completely
car
got that wrong.
commercials of like somebody driving one of those getting chased by T-Rex, like in the commercial.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't all like decked out Jurassic Park style, but they were like, "This is the car that's in the movie." I mean, that's what I'm saying.
They used to be
Everybody,
good cars.
There's a Jeep.
everybody
there's-
got on board
There's
with
a
this
Jeep
movie.
in town that it's not
seen
exactly
it.
accurate, but it.
yeah, I've been behind it at a
I
red
mean-
light once.
I think it was for the 20th year anniversary of Jurassic Park.
They released
they
one?
offered it. It was a
Hell yeah.
package. You could get it. It's not really that special.
No. Like I said, it's not completely accurate. It's just I
paint
see it
job.
and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, definitely a fan.
Before I get this funny little science fact, so we already established that dinosaurs are just birds now, right? So do you know a way that scientists figured out how dinosaurs walked? It's really funny. You can look it up on the internet right now. You can
Did they
this.
put like a
It's a little
plunger on a
GIF.
chicken?
Yeah, it's a 3-second GIF. All they did was they
put a
attached
tail on a chicken?
they attached a plunger to a chicken's butt, so it would like have a tail, like the weight of a tail, and the chicken got low and like walked forward just like a velociraptor.
but immediately knew how to. Yeah,
yeah,
like
it just started walking like a velociraptor.
something in its DNA told it how to.
That's because chickens are literally velociraptors.
that it knew what to do. Yeah.
Throw a mouse in a chicken. Throw a mouse in a chicken pen and see what happens.
The raptors just had tails just to balance themselves, basically, when they ran.
Keep an eye on it. Maybe it'll swing south
Yeah,
like the
that was
last
just a
one.
funny look.
That's pretty cool.
I'm gonna be coming at you with a little science stuff. Hey,
Yeah. And here we are introduced to Samuel Jackson.
this is
Hold
one
on
of
to
the,
your butts.
This is like one of the things that ages the worst in this movie is all of the computers and the.
Oh God.
It
When it-
really
yeah.
ages the worst.
Like, could you imagine back whenever you could smoke in your control room?
Oh, every scene he's in this movie, he's got a fucking cigarette in his mouth.
See,
every fucking scene.
Now smoking is part of the warning before a TV show starts.
well, yeah,
You know,
I mean,
Netflix, it's true. Like
in the late '80s, they banned cigarette commercials.
like anytime a movie comes out or a TV show comes out and a character smokes, like it's always this big uproar. Like
help us from the hands of engineers.
they're promoting.
I always
or-
hate it when people leave cigarettes dangling out of their lips and they're not holding it.
You're like, that's not how you
I'm
smoke.
like, that's just smoke coming up in your eyes. Why? Nobody does that.
We're gonna hit that.
Plus, then
I
like
love
your,
this.
your lip
I
dries
love
out
this
and it
line.
like pulls the
It
skin
sticks
off
to your lip. Yeah, I love Jeff Goldblum's line.
What do they got in there? King Kong?
He mentioned King Kong. This movie is basically partly a love letter to King Kong.
Isn't that still there? Isn't there like a story about they just kind of left that?
Where did they do this movie? They did it in
Costa
It's
Rica, I
called
think?
it's called Isla Nublar in the film, but it's not a real island.
No, it's in like
Hawaii.
Costa Rica or
I
something.
want to say
isn't
it's
it?
Hawaii. I think.
I think it's
one of the-
Central America.
It's one of the Hawaiian islands, I believe.
Hawaii
It's
is so
Costa Rica.
expensive to film there.
Hawaiian Island, Akua, Costa Rica was considered,
Damn, you're right, dog.
given the novel setting, but he was concerned about Spielberg was concerned about infrastructure and accessibility, so they went to Hawaii because they had,
Tim,
fucking
you got.
They
10
probably
a
points.
wanted to
supply
do-
chain and shit.
They probably wanted to do Costa Rica because it was cheaper, but it was easier to do it in Hawaii.
It was a 3-week shoot. That's it.
He was,
A hurricane passed over it while they were shooting, and a lot of the storm scenes in the movie are actual footage shot during the hurricane. Did you
He-
have that in your back pocket? I'm sorry.
no.
In the Pacific, they don't
He,
call them hurricanes.
he
or typhoons.
well, a funny thing, considering this is a lot of people would say one of his best films. This is how crazy Steven Spielberg is. He was editing this movie at the same time he was filming Schindler's List.
Oh, right.
And he only agreed to do this movie if
So
the
he could
studio, because
Yeah.
Schindler's List was like his dream project.
Yeah.
He had always wanted to do Schindler's List.
And the studio was like, nobody would ever go see that.
Yeah, they're like, we'll give you the money you want for Schindler's List, but you got to make Jurassic Park too. So, two of the best films he probably ever made. If you haven't seen Schindler's List, it's
hard. It's a hard watch.
It's a hard watch.
Black and white.
Yeah, it's tough. And
But
hard.
you owe it to yourself
yeah,
to see it.
Everybody should watch that movie, exactly. But I just can't imagine that both of them turned out so great, considering that he would talk about how he would leave the Schindler's List site. They would fly him to fucking Hawaii.
What a totally opposite movie, too.
Yeah, he said when he would be on set with Jurassic Park, he was completely depressed. He said he had a horrible fucking time making this movie because he would film Schindler's List and then come to the set and he had all that fucking...
All that Holocaust
shit. All
shit.
that Holocaust shit in his head.
Well, plus it was like a huge passion project for him.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's Jewish, you know?
So he had to come and work on this, and he said it was really hard to do this because Schindler's List took such a toll on him.
Could you imagine like how much making Schindler's List probably meant to him? Like,
yeah. I mean, it got Best Picture that year.
But I mean, the fact that he managed to do both of them so well at the same, like he's one of the masters.
Yeah.
Period. Like
He's the master.
It's funny because the John Williams score is so incredible. Steven Spielberg was never around. Usually directors will sit in when they're scoring to kind of give them notes like, I like that, but maybe do this. They sit in the recording studio. Spielberg put complete 100% trust in John Williams, obviously because he'd used him ever since Jaws. But Spielberg was never around to okay or not okay the score on this film because he was just too busy. That was just one thing. He just was like, man, I just can't be there. I'm still working on Schindler's List.
God creates dinosaurs.
And
God destroys dinosaurs.
God creates man.
Man destroys God. Man creates dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs eat man.
How sexy is Jeff Goldblum?
Woman inherits.
He's a walking
I did not
pile
see
of
you going that
existential
way, but-
dread. Like,
did you ever see his AMA on Reddit? And I'm pretty sure it was an intern typing his responses. But what they did, and it was kind of creepy, is they typed it like he talks. So it's like a lot of
Long pauses.
like they like
Dot,
literally
dot, dot.
they literally wrote it out, and like I get it, but it was just kind of weird, you know.
I'm going to have to do this every time.
Every time a livestock animal dies?
No, every time. I met Jeff Goldblum.
Oh,
Sorry, I just dropped that name.
Oh yeah, he's really tall.
He's
How much did it cost to meet him,
He's
Tim?
very tall.
I don't remember. Not much, like 150, I think. But man, it was really, really cool. He's one of all the celebs I've met.
Can you believe that Spider Kid was trying to like make people pay 170? And
I
Jeff
thought it was
Goldblum
more than that.
It was
Tom
170.
Holland?
Yeah,
Tom
dude, he
Holland
was
was
charging
Yeah, but
astronomical.
He's charging
Tom Holland is
170.
well, I mean, you got to think about how many
And Jeff
like
Goldblum was cheaper than that.
Yeah.
yeah, but you got to think about how like he's a hit right now. Like
Yeah,
we
he's
love
top
Jeff
of his game.
Goldblum,
Doesn't
you know,
matter.
but
yeah, Jeff was really, really funny, sweet, nice guy. It was a dream come true to meet him, even if it was for 20 seconds. He was very polite and. Yeah, one of the only guys I've ever met that was actually taller than me. He had to duck down a little bit to get
Yeah,
on.
he's like 6'5" or something.
to get on my level
He's
for
ridiculous.
the
what a pimp.
I'll tell you
Being a
one thing too.
supermodel.
So
It's just so funny that he's famous almost more than his movies, just for being like this quirky guy that, like, kind of like
See, the Tyrannosaur.
fucking who am I thinking of? Bill Murray. How you just like there's all these weird stories about him, you know.
yeah, he's a mysterious figure. He has his own.
He pops up in weird places and like, you know,
He lives life to his own philosophy. He's an interesting guy, and even like now, late in life, Jeff Goldblum is different than he was back then. He's one of my biggest regrets from the very short time that I lived in Southern California, like around LA, right?
Give me that big glass.
One of my biggest. I looked up this thing because apparently Jeff Goldblum has like a monthly show at this fine steakhouse, right?
That's where he plays piano.
Yeah, he plays piano and like tells stories, and it's just kind of it's called like a night with Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
And he does it once a month just for fun, just to play piano and do all that stuff. And I looked it up, and it actually doesn't cost anything to go. There's like a minimum order, and you have to at least get the steak dinner, and you have to at least buy a bottle of wine, and like have your reservations. And that to this day is like the biggest regret I have of things I did not do in the LA area when I lived there. It's not anything
Well, I heard
else.
doesn't he just randomly decides when he's going to do it? If you're just there on the right night, then you get
you
to
have
see.
to make reservations. It's on the website, but I mean he'll do it randomly too.
Yeah.
He's very famous for showing up. He goes to South by Southwest.
Yeah,
and
he just shows. He's got a show
or,
on Disney Plus that's really great, where he just kind of goes around.
There's
talking.
a couple people that do things.
That is
like
literally
that,
my biggest
celebrities.
regret from the time I lived there because I was right there. I could go do it, but I didn't have anybody to go with, and I didn't want to be a loser and go alone.
So I guess
should have been a
Jurassic
loser.
Park. Did they start?
See,
Ghost Ride the Whip.
This is what I was talking about. He's just talking to himself. That shouldn't have happened. They just opened the doors and jumped out of the car.
Yeah, there should be locks.
They shouldn't be able to do that. Yeah,
They're just beta testers, man.
that's a problem.
Well, he just.
But why would they send kids out there? That was just.
That's kind
Hey,
of that's a huge oversight.
Yeah.
They
They haven't. They don't know this thing is safe yet. But he's going to let his grandkids.
Hey,
go.
those aren't kids. Those are junior paleontologists.
I think the background of why they're there and doing this is that basically he needs to send them out there because his investors are getting worried.
The lawyer's there for the
and
investors.
he can't finish it without their investment.
Well, the lawyer there,
Yeah.
the guy in the background, is there, because the investors are
So it's not
scared.
done, but he can't finish it if they don't keep investing.
He wants Grant and Laura Dern there to go back and tell people that this shit's authentic. Those are really fucking dinosaurs. He needs
his endorsement.
Yeah, he needs them as experts in the
He needs
field
their- he
to
needs their
sign off and
endorsement.
say, yeah, this is legit. This really is real. The lawyer's
he
there
wants to get the scientific community on his side.
yeah, so that people will go.
And
Will
Je-
even listen
and
to
Jeff
him.
Goldblum's like he calculates risk or something.
He's a mathematician and chaos, the expert in chaos theory. So he's there to look at all. Basically, he's there to look Murphy's law.
assess risk.
Yeah, he's there to look at everything that could go wrong.
Yeah,
and
man, he's there to
yeah.
take his shirt off and be fucking hot.
He's there to go, hey, did you think about this? Because this could happen, and that's and blah blah blah. And he's there to think up every possible situation that could go wrong, so that they can have contingency plans if something was to go wrong. See, okay, even it's sick, I would still get that kid the fuck away from it.
I would too.
Because what if it gets spooked and jerks its head up really fast, and that kid gets impaled on a fucking 4-foot spike?
Yeah, because the amount of force that thing would be putting out.
It could just get scared and pick its head up, and that kid could be dead.
And anybody that knows rudimentary biology knows don't ever go to a cornered or sick animal because then they're desperate.
Even if they're on death's doorstep, they will attack you, even if they have minutes left to live.
No, I think they said that they tranquilized it.
Oh yeah, that's,
Well,
right.
it was-
That's
okay.
true. They did say.
I think he said, yeah, we just.
Oh, that's so gross.
We just tranked it or
Look,
something.
she's popping a pus bubble on its tongue.
Microvesicles. It's interesting.
Yo, that tongue probably got the Rona.
Kind
man.
of a
Don't
weird thing,
touch it.
though. Kind of a weird
That's
thing.
how it's-
They're paleontologists. They're not biologists. So
You still got to take a lot of biology to be.
I
They've
know,
never-
but
But they've never
they spend all their
studied a
time.
live
They spend
one.
all their time digging.
Yeah.
All a paleontologist is a
Yeah, they
biology.
study the structure of.
It's just a biology / geology major.
But they said this thing was sick and dying. Why are they letting them touch all over it? They don't even know what's killing it.
That's called bad science, bro.
I think, she's saying, it's eating it naturally did not eat this kind of vegetation.
Of course it is.
So she's a botanist, too. A paleontol botanist. I don't know the right term. She studies extinct plant life, basically.
Most paleontologists actually study trees and shrubs and fish and.
Because she tries part of that. That's how you start to figure out what they ate.
Yeah.
Were they meat eaters? Were they herbivores? Were they?
Oh, I love.
So she's
The
like,
big-
we
the
gotta
big
we gotta
megafauna
check.
It's actually the rarest thing. Most people aren't really.
I love the cut that it cuts to here, man.
She's like, we gotta figure out what it's been eating because that's what's killing it.
Dino droppings.
Droppings.
So they're in Hawaii.
It's the one
so that
time
means,
they say shit in the movie, I believe.
That means that they're eating oleander bushes, which are highly poisonous that come from Hawaii. Just let you know, never put oleander bushes on a fire when you're clearing stuff out.
They're
just
not
so you know, you'll die.
in Hawaii.
Yeah, if you breathe the shit in,
you'll die.
They're on Island Number.
It's still oleander. I'm
See,
trying
they're
to make
already-
people know I'm smart. Gosh dang it.
Sam Jackson's character is like, pull a plug.
That's right.
We go
Dude,
now.
look at this.
Look at him saunter
Wait.
up.
Let's-
They made
Wait,
him
wait.
be sexy.
One big pile of shit.
That got a huge laugh in the theater, obviously. And then that got the gross out from the audience.
You're right.
Now she puts on PPE.
And look at she rests her elbow on her knee. Look at that.
I don't think
she was elbow deep in that shit. And look at that. That's like people. That's like people nowadays with coronavirus going around with gloves.
I don't think they would poop like that though.
Bro, she afraid to get a little dirty.
How did a triceratops leave that big pile of shit?
No, that's gotta
maybe
be like
they
a
gathered it.
brachiosaurus poop. Right
somebody's cleaning that shit up and putting it in piles.
I mean, wouldn't they poop like birds?
I don't know. Who knows?
Like white urine.
Yeah.
Most reptiles and birds all have a cloaca, which is a all-in-one hole where they don't pee or poop. They excrete poop with uric acid in it. That's why it's white and stuff. I don't know if dinosaurs did that though. Who knows? I don't know. Because the only dinosaurs left around now are birds, which birds are dinosaurs. So I guess so. I guess you're right.
That's the thing. Because reptiles. Some of them like poop.
Well, dinosaurs are more like birds than they are like reptiles.
Yeah.
Most evidence points to them even being warm-blooded.
Hammond and I can never remember Sam Jackson's character. They started noticing that the technology is that's some of the real footage of the hurricane right there, for sure. Man, they got lucky with that. They're like, shit, send somebody down there with a camera. Let's get this shit.
Ray is saying.
They realized the hurricane's coming. Everybody's got to get off the island. All non-essential people got to get the fuck off the island because the hurricane's coming.
I think they were about to do like a staff change, like a shift change too.
Yeah, so a lot of the staff, except for a skeleton crew, are getting on boats to head to the mainland. And Hammond's pissed that they have to evacuate because that's not going to...
It's another callback to, like, you can't control nature, dude.
Yeah.
The storm's
coming
in.
He's trying to control nature. He's trying to play God.
Anybody want a soda or something?
The Earth will tell you right now that you can't do shit.
Is that guy still alive?
Who? Which one? Who?
That actor?
Wayne Knight? Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's still alive. Is he doing the circuits? Is he doing
he pops up
the Fan Expo circuits?
And I thought maybe I should tell you that the system is going to be compiling for.
He's only had a couple characters. What's he done besides Jurassic Park and Seinfeld?
He was in the Tom Jane Punisher.
Oh, really?
The one with Thomas Jane?
He was in Third Rock from the Sun.
Oh, yeah, he was.
I never saw that.
Yeah, he was the nerdy tech neighbor guy for the Punisher and Thomas Jane.
Microchip, yeah.
I totally screwed up, and I didn't even mention it. They just showed that scene where the storm surge was coming through that hallway. When you look at it, it's like a real video player, and it has like a scrub bar at the bottom. It's one of the things about that doesn't age. It literally it wasn't a live feed. It showed it being like a playback feature. But because no one really knew what that was at the time, they totally got away with it. But now when you look, you're like, that's not live. That's a video.
Yeah, you can
file.
see. You can.
And it's every single time they play like footage, it has a scrub bar at the bottom. So
they didn't think about
it's just a video file.
Yeah. They didn't think people.
It's that whole '90s like hacker thing.
Yeah.
I love they got the spy music on right now.
Yeah.
It's the espionage.
Yeah, because they're like, what's this guy up to? He's being sneaky.
Who would ever thought Newman, super spy? Because he really is. He is the super spy in this. He puts viruses in the computer. He like dismantles this whole park's infrastructure.
He's the hacker troll guy.
I mean, that's super fucking hacker guy. Yeah. He has everything down to a T, dude. He's like freaking Snake in here in Metal Gear Solid.
Fucking love that.
He's timing like guard rotations and turning off cameras.
I mean, even the simplest tech in this movie is really cool. Like,
yeah, it's like a cryo chamber for the. See that's another science thing that doesn't even hold up. Is they have to keep all this DNA samples in like cryo chambers because they know how delicate DNA is, but you can extract it from a freaking 70 to 300 million year old piece of animal.
Also, don't think they would label like that. They probably label with numbers and
right. Yeah, I mean, probably. Yeah. That's a whole other thing. Is like all these dinosaurs they have in here in Jurassic Park.
You can't pull
the
blood
majority of them
from
like more than 50% of them are actually from the Jurassic period.
Available issue.
It's even the movie is named wrong.
Yeah.
Like the majority of the dinosaurs are from the Jurassic period, not the Jurassic period.
Right.
Hey, what that touch?
Because like a lot of those animals were already starting to scale down in size. Millions and millions of years ago, the atmosphere used to be a lot more oxygenated than
High
it is
oxygen,
now.
yeah.
Extremely high oxygen, which oxygen is biological fuel, so things could get bigger and
Well,
bigger.
because we were coming out of the time whenever the ground was molten and it was just superheated.
Oh no, that was way before. Way before.
But the high oxygen allowed them to be that big.
Yes. That's
and then
why
as that started evening out to what we have now.
That's why there's like mega mosquitoes. The thing that made like it get a little bit lower in oxygen was a like biological boom, and then when the oxygen started getting lower, animals' size started to like shrink down. Also, so that's why like Brachiosaurus is some of the like the most large animals were from an era before, not even the Jurassic era. I'm a dinosaur.
Like another thing that ties to the bird theory is, that's probably the only way they could be as big as they were.
Mm-hmm.
Be light. You know, because gravity and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. That was because the whole thing about King Kong. Like, you can't take an ape as they are and blow them up to 30 feet.
Yeah, that's called scaling.
Yeah.
Or Godzilla is actually a better example of that. Yeah, that's called scaling. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they use King Kong a lot because it's an actual animal.
Sure.
Like you can't take an ape and scale it up to that size and it would collapse on itself. But these dinosaurs, they probably had hollow bones and shit. Maybe, I don't know.
So, if you know anything about like basic rudimentary like geometry, right? When you have a 3D object, like say a cylinder or something like that, instead of a 2D object. If you have a 2D object which is a circle, you're multiplying like the radius times pi, right, to get the surface area of a 2D object. When it's in third dimensions, it's actually it's cubed, right? So when you scale an animal up very, very large, it exponentially gets heavier as it gets bigger. That's why there's kind of a ceiling on these animals. And that's why, like, you know, aquatic animals can get bigger than land animals and all those types of things.
Right.
So it's a really weird tangent we just went on. But yeah.
Heavy on the science.
I forgot to mention earlier when we were talking about the special effects guys, Phil Tippett, the guy that was going to do all this when they were originally going to do this stop motion, he was the master of stop motion. He had recently, to tie things together, a film that we just did recently, he did the stop motion on the ED-209 in RoboCop. That was Phil Tippett.
Yeah, it looked kind of shitty.
The little two-foot walker thing? Yeah. Hell yeah.
That was the same guy.
So they actually did do some stop motion in this movie?
87. That was
5 years.
It was a good 5 or 6 years, yeah.
Did they do did they actually have some stop motion in this film?
I don't. It's just animatronics and CGI. I don't think they ever actually.
Hey, y'all, we all had that toy.
That's my favorite line.
We all had that toy. Come on.
I still say that nobody ever understands what I'm saying. Is like, are they heavy? Yeah. Then put them back. They're probably expensive.
They're probably expensive. This was the big fucking scene. This is where the movie really kicks off.
Yeah, right at the midpoint. Beginning, I guess.
So see, they've waited a good hour before we see the T-Rex. We still haven't seen one, and this is our introduction, obviously.
In the most brilliant way possible,
that famous scene in the trailer, you just see the ripples in the cup of water. That's been copied so many times in so many other movies.
It's been copied so many times in other movies that it was a meme before people said memes.
Yeah.
This movie is like...
But see, he's the first one to notice.
That
ain't thunder.
This is like a textbook perfect example.
His ears are young enough.
Of how to ratchet up tension in so many different ways.
Like, I mean, look how simple that effect is, but you know something ain't right.
I mean, but even T-Rex has been built up, like not as much as the Velociraptors, but like it's like the Tyrannosaurus Rex was clocked at 35 miles an hour, and they're like, wait, T-Rex? You have a T-Rex?
Yeah.
You know, like
so the audience is waiting to see the fucking T-Rex,
and they're waiting to see the Velociraptor. Like building tension is like this movie is like the best, like one of the best examples of it. I would say.
Also, T-Rexes can only run at like 12
they're
miles
not that
per hour.
fast.
Yeah,
they
can't run as fast as humans. They were carrying.
But yeah, they waited a good hour for us.
Scavengers.
Yes.
They ate carrying. Yeah.
So this is when everybody gasped in the theater. You're like, okay, that first.
Where's the goat?
You remember seeing that in theaters?
Little
jumped.
jumps.
Everybody
Yeah,
jumped.
little jump scare.
Oh, we're coming up on the.
See, he just tested the.
We're coming up
That's
on a weird continuity thing in this one.
Obviously animatronic. That's our first shot of the T-Rex. And that's all animatronic. That's
so good.
It's amazing.
It kind of moved like hydraulics, but
They He left us. Yeah. They had
yeah, well, he's gonna.
they had so many problems. Steven Spielberg famously in the film Jaws had a lot of problems,
problems
with the
with
shark.
Bruce. Yeah,
with Bruce the shark.
Yeah.
The animatronics wouldn't work in the water and
Yeah.
stuff. He had the same problem in this because the T-Rex, whatever the leather or whatever it is, the foam and everything for the skin. He wanted it to be raining, obviously, and the water kept soaking into the
It'd get really heavy.
yeah,
probably.
yeah, so the
Yeah.
T-Rex started getting super fucking heavy, and it wouldn't do what they wanted it to.
Right.
And they spent more time filming.
See, this
obviously,
part's
that's
CG.
CGI. Yeah, that's CGI.
Apparently, like
Whenever you see the whole
because it was
thing.
getting soaked, it would just like they'd be eating lunch or something, and it'd start
yeah,
moving and
it started
shit.
malfunctioning.
I mean, they made it a rain scene, so.
God, it looks so
Yeah.
good.
It's a good
Keep absolutely still.
CGI shot. And,
But see, watch
wait
it.
a minute,
Anytime
which-
it's CGI, it's only on screen for like a second.
Yeah.
What version? Let me ask this question: what version are we watching? Did they remaster this movie, or is this the original theatrical release?
I'm pretty sure. I don't know. If
Is
they
this
ever
what
did.
it looked like in
this is what
'93?
yeah.
So that's animatronic.
I mean, yeah, that was animatronic right there. Then
That's CG.
CGI. It's just brilliant how seamlessly they move back
Yeah.
and forth.
Animatronic.
No, all they did was just release a 3D version.
No, that's what Tim brought. Yeah.
And as
This moonroof is definitely a big design flaw of this fucking car. I'm getting ahead of it. I'm sorry.
As my daughter will tell you, the whole "don't move and they can't see you" thing is not.
oh yeah,
not
movement based vision.
Yeah.
It was like I said before. It was another one of those this is what they theorized at the time.
At the time, yeah. They kind of thought like maybe they're like snakes, and if you don't move, they can't sense you. But that they've since debunked that theory. That his whole "don't move, don't make a sound" wouldn't save you.
Also, like I was
Which
saying too,
they
is
don't use
T-Rex,
it too much. It just
Like
kind of.
T-Rexes weren't big time predators. They didn't do this. They really actually
It would
just-
not be trying to get into that car that bad just for those two little
No.
fucking.
They were kind of
morsels
T-Rexes. The closest thing we have today to what a T-Rex was kind of like a hyena, right? Like something with incredible biological power, but they really just like wait for other things to do the work for
They're
them.
more of a scavenger.
They're a
Hyenas
scavenger.
are scavengers.
They're scavengers, but the thing that T-Rex and hyenas have in common is hyenas have the strongest bite for a mammal there is, and T-Rex has the strongest bite of any living creature of all time. So they actually like they're really similar. It's kind of like a convergent evolution where if you got the strongest bite, you really don't need to do the work.
They fulfilled the same role.
See the
Just wait.
T-Rex wouldn't be doing that.
So the T-Rex roars were a combination of dog, penguin, tiger, alligator, and elephant.
Yeah, baby elephants, tigers, yeah, crocodiles.
Do you know what they think T-Rexes actually sounded like?
Like a bird, chickens.
Like a goose. Like a
But
like a
goddamn it,
goose's,
that
a
roar.
goose's honk. Honk. They think
That,
T-Rex went honk. No, dude, it's iconic.
That's when I would start panicking.
It's as iconic as like
That shot right there, man. That was a huge,
It's
giant
so-
animatronic.
It looks so fucking amazing.
That's CGI,
And that's CG,
but
yeah.
the last shot was animatronic.
See, the one thing they do with the CGI that you don't see, like whenever you see shitty CGI, it doesn't have this in that they know how to place it in the shot.
Yeah.
Like it's a little blurry. The rain's falling in front of it. Like
Well, he also chose to do this scene at nighttime too because it kind of hides the keep
the
it
imperfections.
yeah keep it dark so you can't see the shininess of the. I remember thinking that he had just died right there.
today I was before I came up here, I saw a bathroom picture that you could buy on Amazon on Facebook of that scene.
Spielberg.
See, he wasn't even moving that much. And he still
Spielberg
saw him.
wanted to put that shot in there just because it was a lawyer
So brutal.
So he was just like, yeah, we're gonna fucking kill that fucking lawyer. That's our first.
That's a pretty brutal shot for a PG film.
Yeah, except for that guy at the very beginning that
Well, there
got
was no
pulled in
blood.
the cage. That's
Yeah.
our first death.
Besides goats and cows and shit.
Can't see us if we don't move.
And I got a animatronic foot.
So cool.
That's animatronic. So imagine as an actor, that's a lot better than CGI because that thing's
it's scary.
in your fucking face. I'd be scared
I would be very concerned about malfunctions, to be honest with you.
that it could really accidentally bite
Especially
you.
in the rain, and since they were having trouble with it,
Yeah, it could crush
I think
you.
it was getting close to me.
And there's,
I mean, they probably that one shot where it got close. They probably did some angle stuff.
these little kids are fucking great actors too.
Perspective.
Man.
Isn't that like C. Thomas Howell?
No. C. Thomas Howell was way older by this time.
Was he?
But these little kids,
Joseph Mazzillo.
What'd they do? What'd they go on to do?
I don't think they.
He played the bass player in Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yes.
Wow.
Good for him. Good for him. He was the guy that was in The Social Network. The girl actually,
I don't know that she ever did anything else again.
she was in another movie that we've done. She was in Tremors.
Oh, that's right.
She was the little girl in Tremors.
She was the Pogo girl.
Aaron, can we get a?
E.T.'s out connected.
Yeah, that's right.
E.T.'s out connected.
Yeah, we mentioned that in the Tremors episode.
Yeah, we did.
But
Which one do you think's better?
They're great. They're great little actors. I mean, child actors can fucking make or break a film.
They really
Oh yeah.
Which kid do you think's the better actor at this point?
Out of these two,
The girl, her scream is amazing. I mean, when she screams, I legit feel that she's.
I would want to
feels
give
like
it.
she's in danger.
I would want to give it to her, but it's almost expected because she's older.
I think the little
But I
boy's
think
a little
the
better.
boy he did. There's some.
He has
he's
some
okay,
good-
but he's young. Yeah, but he did a great job.
I think he does better at playing his character.
He has some more
because he's this
comedic
little like
moments.
schmarmy kind of like know-it-all little guy.
Well, because he's the dino expert.
Yeah.
And he has some more of the more comedic moments in it. She's the one that's just like, fuck this. You know, like she's terrified, and she does that terrified really.
Yeah, she's almost become a jaded teenager.
That line always got me. He delivered that line well. He goes, "Go get my grandchildren." You're like,
Right.
My fucking grandkids are out there. I'm not going anywhere.
Well, bro, man, like you sent him on the path.
Yep.
In really faulty Ford Explorers.
Yeah.
Where the locks don't even lock.
Like they don't have any kind of like weather reader system.
Yeah,
You know,
this hurricane just came out.
Of course, when you're in the middle of the ocean, you don't know when shit's coming sometimes.
And they haven't even
in the 90s.
They haven't even
weather
started building
wasn't
like
very big in the 90s.
They haven't even started building the hotels and resorts or whatever. You know, if people are going to come visit Jurassic Park, they got to fucking build.
Oh shit! This scene, dog.
They got to build a fucking Disney World type
Yeah, I gotta do better
resort
infrastructure.
because people aren't just going to come. They're going to want to stay.
Look, he's so close to the dock. See him? He's so close.
Yeah, they said that earlier. They're like, man, we could charge $2,000-$3,000 a head, and people will fucking pay it. And John Hammond was like, no, this is not going to be just for the super rich. Everybody deserves a chance to see these
But
creatures.
that's Disney World prices.
Well, he was like two to 3,000 a head, and Hammond was like, no, like 200 to 300 a head. He goes, well, I want everybody to be able to afford to come here. And it's like,
Y'all want to take a guess how much $2,000 was in 1993 compared to today?
I'll take a guess. 2,000?
Yeah.
I think it was about 3,600.
To today?
It would be 3,600 a day. Yeah, I'm guessing.
Yeah, look at you.
Am I right?
What the fuck, Aaron?
Am I right?
Why do you act so dumb?
Am I right?
Yeah. It was 3,621.
Yeah, see, I know inflation. I know percentages and shit. Sorry.
so I texted my daughter to say, hey, because I know she wouldn't knew. I said, what's the name of the dinosaur?
Actually, that was just a really good guess. Yeah.
I texted my daughter because Ava is upset that she couldn't be on this episode. I said, what's the name of the dinosaur that kills the fat guy? And this is her response: the Dilophosaurus.
Yeah.
Although that's not what the dinosaur looked like in real life at all, it's still one of my favorites. Like her being the dinosaur nerd, she goes, it's one of my favorites, but in reality, they did not look like this at all.
Ask her what it looked like.
We gotta y'all gotta do a movie night. We gotta do that.
Oh yeah.
I would have fun having her on and all of us do it, and we just mind our P's and Q's. But Y'all gotta at least do one. Do Godzilla or
I knew
something.
that she would respond and have the answer for me.
We'll just say fuck less.
She's the
it's not the fucks. It's more the
we'll drink less. How
the
about
misogyny and the
the
titties
misogyny, yeah. We won't play our characters.
and shitting on chests. And,
I'm gonna run you over. When
No, really, I'm
I love
actually,
that line. I'm gonna run you back. I'm gonna run you over when I come back down here.
I'm really intrigued of what it actually looked like. If she responds back to you. See, I like Newman because he's like, I'm about to run you back over. He ain't afraid of this thing. Look, it doesn't have its stuff out. It looks like emaciated. You can see its ribs.
Yeah, he thought that was a plant-eating one.
what a crazy
I'd
animal!
fuck all these dinosaurs up, except for like the raptors and T-Rex and stuff. But
That was kind of like yeah,
this
that's
dinosaur,
So they-
man, I'd
they
fuck
never
that
spit
dinosaur
venom.
up.
yeah. They didn't spit that shit.
They don't have a cowl. You want to see what it really looks like?
because I believe they were actually herbivores, but they needed something
I'm just saying, I'd jack that thing up.
something small to kill this dude.
It might not even
Also
be
the
venom.
toys.
Like, look, he's.
Oh yeah, to sell more toys.
Oh yeah.
They needed more different-looking dinosaurs so they could make more toys.
And then,
Which in this case, I'm okay with.
like, so also in reptiles, when they have like frills and things that you puff out and shit, like that's not for fighting. That's for mating. So it's like that.
Yeah,
it's like that dinosaur wanted to
peacocking.
fuck Newman.
Yeah.
That dinosaur was like, Newman, I'm trying to bang. What's
Yeah.
up, dude?
So we kind of just breezed right over the fact that all of a sudden there was a giant drop on the other side of that wall.
Well, that's the T-Rex cage.
Yeah, but
They had him, way down.
Well, how'd he get up the cage?
So that he. Yeah, they
How'd
don't.
he get up
They
there?
don't really explain that. That's kind of.
no, I mean they literally fall down like 30 or 40 feet. The T-Rex is not that tall. Like he's on even plane with them in the beginning of the scene.
Yeah. So how did he crawl out of this cage? Is that?
How, no, it's a fuck up. It's a straight up
It's a
fuck up.
discrepancy.
Yeah.
Yes.
because he was.
All
not,
of a sudden that pit is.
Yeah, he was not
it's
tall
a-
enough to.
Well, because they wanted to have the scene where the car chases them down this tree right here. They wrote it in. And it made it
Yeah,
happen.
this part seemed a little dragged out. There's some parts in here like this whole. We got to
There
get
really
back
is, yeah,
up
yeah.
there. It's like video game side mission. Like, oh, well, we have to go get the walkie-talkie. Or no, Tim. There's a human being in there. Okay,
That's a good analogy.
okay,
yeah.
that's why he's going up there.
No, in the 90s there was a sort of a school of thought with these movies that like every so often you had to have a beat of action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and, and even like Spielberg would fall for it. You know what I mean? It was kind of formulaic.
Yeah,
So
he knew that it had to happen.
they already ramped it up with the T-Rex, so now every now and then like you got to have it. The pace is
Well,
like
the-
really high now. You got to keep that fucking pace up.
the whole first hour of this film was exposition and setup.
Right. So now it's ramping
So
up,
now-
and you have to
yeah.
keep it up. Because
Yeah.
if you don't keep it up, it's gonna drag.
Yeah, you don't want the film to drag at this point. We've had an hour of build-up and exposition stuff. We're on board. We've seen the dinosaurs. They look great. Now give us what we want.
Even though it's a discrepancy and like the height and all this, and it doesn't really make sense. It makes sense when you think about it in terms of like pacing, and then also the character development of the kids and him, and
Yeah.
it's
And you want to have elements of danger, but it's not a dinosaur every time. Otherwise,
Right.
otherwise people will get bored of it. Like, oh well, here's the fucking T-Rex again.
because it's really environmental. Like it's a theme park that's gone awry.
Yeah,
There just happens to be dinosaurs in it, and there's OSHA violations everywhere.
out the yin yang.
Well, I mean it's half the
And product placements
It's half the plot
as well.
is they were brought in to say this is safe, and then now they're dealing with the consequences of the hubris. You know.
That is actually one thing. Other than the Fords, I don't think there's a shit ton of product placement in this film.
They have their own product placements.
We
Like
haven't
the Jurassic
seen-
Park, and the Jeeps, and
I mean, I think I saw Coke cans sitting on a table earlier, but that was it.
Now, why wouldn't you just go to the other side?
Yeah,
of
there's
the
a bunch
tree?
of branches. Let's just scoot off to the side. That's a good shot right there, though.
No,
I mean, that's
music.
That's why Spielberg's the master, man. When this movie came out, there hadn't been like a legitimate, decent dinosaur film in years. I mean, they had always been stop motion up to this point.
Yeah, I mean, what was before this?
Yeah, I mean, it had to have been
So I have a question for you, Tim.
the
What-
70s at least, and they were really bad Roger Corman stop motion.
Was the Carnosaur series after Jurassic Park? Was that okay? That was
Oh, I love this shot.
That was a B movie ripoff.
Okay,
basically.
because it looks so bad. It looked like it's from the early '80s. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, it was a straight to VHS.
But they made like
ripoff.
6 of them or something. They made an unimaginable amount of Carnosaurs.
A funny note: I rented Carnosaur on VHS when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Only for one reason. It is the only, at the time, place that you could find the trailer for the unreleased Fantastic Four movie.
The Roger Corman one?
Yeah. Have you ever seen footage from that about how...
Yeah.
There was the trailer for that in front of Carnosaur.
I bought the DVD at like Akon from some bootleg.
Yeah, I think you can watch it on YouTube now.
Carnosaur came out the same year.
Yeah, it was hot on the heels. I mean,
one of those
dinosaurs,
coattail
everybody...
riders.
Yeah, everybody wanted dinosaurs after this.
But I mean, this is the first time that on film you've seen dinosaurs
that were believable.
Yeah.
Everything before this had been kind of goofy
B-movie stuff.
Yeah.
Like Godzilla stuff or like Harryhausen.
Yeah, cavemen fighting, stop motion
Barbarella.
Yeah. Creature from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
And to this movie's credit, they really did try to like lean into the science of DNA, which what they knew at the time, you know what I mean? They did their best with it to make it make sense.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of legitimized it. I mean, people at that time, like I said, there was a resurgence of digs and people finding new things, and we started to learn a lot more in the late 80s and early 90s about dinosaurs.
Although amphibians are as different from reptiles as humans are from them, so that.
But in the early 90s, they were.
But they didn't know.
DNA was just starting to become a thing.
Right,
like
right.
Forensic science and stuff like that. It was one of the first times they were actually able to start extracting DNA from bones,
as well as technology to be
marrow.
able to scan and find things.
Yeah.
like they showed in the beginning scene.
Seismic charges, so they could see underground, basically, like sonar.
I mean, frogs are green and lizards are green, so obviously they're cousins, right?
Well, that's another thing. We don't know if they had if they were feathery. The one thing that we know about dinosaurs legitimately is that they weren't mammals. That's basically the only thing.
Well, we know now that they actually did have feathers. Because,
and I'm not talking about woolly mammoths. That was a different, completely.
Sure. That's a totally different thing.
Oh, and another thing that is incorrect about this, and another thing about the science that's incorrect in this. T-Rexes and raptors, 90% of the dinosaurs in this were not from the Jurassic age. They were from the Mesozoic age, I think.
I think they were from.
So
it was not.
It can run 35 miles an hour. I have trouble believing this Jeep.
That Jeep should at least be able to do 60.
The T-Rex? No, it can't run 35.
That got a laugh.
No, that's what he says at the beginning.
Oh yeah, they're very slow.
That got a laugh that objects in mirror may appear closer than they really are.
Yeah.
See, this is obviously all full CG.
Well, also Jeeps are
that was pretty impressive.
Jeeps kind of suck.
I guess they CGI'd the dent in the side.
See, they don't show the whole
right
thing. You don't really quite see the whole top. Yeah, see, it tired out. It said, "Fuck y'all."
They were very slow.
Well, and that's another thing too. Is like just because there was something in front of them doesn't mean they're always going to eat. They're not fucking monsters.
Right, they're just animals.
They're just a fucking animal. They're not.
Put on this
They're not
earth,
evil.
Outside of time, they don't know what's going on.
Not to mention they're fucking mutations and abominations.
Yeah.
No telling what you did to their brain chemistry.
They're just freaking out because they're
like, living in an atmosphere that doesn't have as much oxygen in it as it should.
Yeah, geographically, they're not where they should be.
It's way too cold for them. Mm-hmm. They're used to like 104 degrees. It's like 92. They're fucking freezing, and they're so big they have to eat. They gotta eat they gotta eat like 5 goats a day.
Well, that's like, I mean, you look at the Serengeti now, like, you know, the migration of animals, and like they run out of food to eat.
Oh yeah,
the dry season, the rivers and stuff dry up, so they just keep moving till they find food. And that's the theory that I buy into more with the extinction of dinosaurs, is that because they had to eat so fucking much,
they're just too big.
They just ate up everything around them and fucking died because there was no more resources.
I mean, that's what happens to that's what happens to alligators and crocodiles.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
they can live forever, but they get eventually they get too big and they just can't eat enough, or they can't sustain that size.
Or the animals in their food chain migrate away, and they can't keep up with them.
Well, the meteor did happen. That's confirmed now. The site's been found. It's like in the Yucatan. Like that's a thing. But that created like environmental differences where you can't be big and still live.
Yeah. It's just you'll eventually die out because you just run out.
Well, I mean, whenever that hit, it wiped out probably most of their food supply. Any of the ones that live.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Any animals big enough for them to be able to eat, and once that happens,
blocked out the sun, and yeah.
Have you guys? So Tiger King is like really big right now. Have you guys all seen it? Y'all seen Tiger King?
Mm-hmm.
So tigers are
Oh,
really.
you finally watched it?
Like tiger's a big mammal, right? It's about 400 pounds. Do you know how much raw meat a tiger has to eat a day to stay alive and healthy? 20 pounds of raw meat is what a tiger. So imagine a T-Rex, dude. Like imagine how much.
It's only 20 pounds.
20 pounds of raw meat a day is what a tiger
It's less
needs to
than I
have.
thought.
Man, that's a lot.
I mean, I know it's a lot, but
that's a lot. That's a dog every day.
This is the first use of this theme.
Oh, the hopeful thing.
He's starting to kind of like the kids that were annoying.
Almost hopeful.
Yeah. You're sitting there going, oh. What's the term she uses with the Brachiosaurus? She goes, is it a Nisosaurus?
Omnivore? Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't know the right word. She goes, is it a Nisosaurus or a Metasaurus or something like that?
Did you say she was a vegetarian?
Yeah, I think
like
so.
In the beginning?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah. This right here.
The vegans weren't even invented yet. It was a better time.
God, I see.
Look at this!
Man,
look at this shameless plug for the
I'm getting
the shop.
Chills with the music, man. I'm surprised they didn't ever actually really sell some of those.
Oh, they did.
I'm sure they sold all of it.
They sold all kinds of shit.
Stuffed dinosaurs.
Yo.
I had some of the toys. I think Kenner made the toys.
So shout out to my good buddy Byron, right? My good buddy Byron, he's a toy collector since he's been a kid. He was that weird kid who like wouldn't open his toys.
Oh, I still have. Yeah.
And he's actually been like not working for such a long time because he's been sitting on such a mountain of toys that he could sell them off and really like actually like give his family like food and stuff.
Yeah.
That one toy I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, the toy where like the meat would come out of the side, is like worth $700.
Wait,
it was a whole lot.
The meat? Like a chunk of its.
You could pull the side out.
I remember, like because they were fighting.
They'd take damage.
Yeah, there was the toys where they would take damage and all that stuff. And they're so expensive.
Is it a big one?
No,
they were
it's
just
like regular size.
I had a lot of the toys,
6-inch
but
toys.
did he just not take it out of the box?
No, the thing is, like, we probably all had that toy where the side comes out and you see the ribs, but the thing is most people lost the little chunks. Like, they all got lost because they were little tiny pieces. So if you had, like, the full one, not even the box, it's literally worth, like, hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
He sold the one, like, the Brontosaurus one with the chunks. It was $700.
Yep.
It was a lot of money.
Yeah, those toys back then, I mean... Because I want to say Kenner made the toys on this. They might
I'm
have.
not even sure, yeah.
Because, I mean, I keep a lot of toys. I still have like 9 or 10 Phantom Menace toys that I bought. I still have them wrapped in bubble wrap in their boxes, in my closet.
The favorite,
Don't open them.
my favorite,
have a Batman toy from the Batman Returns
Don't open
movie. It was a Toys R Us exclusive that was not sold anywhere else but Toys R Us. I still got it in the fucking box. It's a prized possession of mine.
my favorite toy that I had, my Jurassic Park toy I had, was the. You could get this set, and it was probably ridiculously expensive, but I got it for Christmas, and it was from the Lost World, and it was
Did it have the Jeep with the lasso?
No, it was the
thing on
bus.
Oh, the mobile lab.
It was the bus
really?
with
It was a lab,
the double bus, and it would open up and have the lab in the back, and it came with a couple other things. Like it came with like a corral to put around it, and I remember just fucking.
I bet you wish you still had it.
No, not really. I mean, it was huge. It took up a lot of space. I don't
sell
really,
it and
I
make a
wish
lot of
my
money.
mom wouldn't have thrown away all my He-Man toys when I was a little kid because I could have fucking retired off of those
But I
things.
made a mistake too. I didn't have enough respect for that.
I just-
power, and it's out
She's doing the whole. This is
My
my
eyes
life.
are open,
I
yeah.
I love paleontology. I love this, and as much as I don't want to say it, you've got to admit John, that you cannot, in all good consciousness, fucking open this park, you know? Yeah, she's like, people have died. Like, I know this sucks and you're going to lose...
I know you really care about this.
You're going to lose billions of dollars, but you know...
You need to see...
She's trying to...
talk sense into
Yeah,
them.
like, I know you want this, but I can tell that you're a good enough human being and that you know that's not the right fucking choice.
I hope
they're just sitting in here
it's probably
like...
a $30 parfait.
They're just sitting there fucking eating
But
all
he's
this.
also sitting there wrestling with like he's been so proud of, he's accomplished all this and he's so proud of it, and he's just like, he's stoked, and now he's starting to see, like, because his grandchildren are in trouble. He's starting to see...
He's afraid. He's like, man, I did all this...
He's starting to see how he's affecting the people that he loves.
Yeah, but he's like, man, this has been his life's work. And he's realizing that, fuck, nobody's going to get to see this.
It's okay.
He's like, man, I've worked my entire life for something like this, and it's a Vegisaurus.
I think they found out that the Brachiosaurus was never real.
No, that was the Brontosaurus.
No, I think the Brontosaurus was real, but the Brachiosaurus wasn't.
I think it might be the opposite.
There's a bunch of different of this type of
well, there
creature.
used to be this one, because I remember as a little kid, I was like, you could differentiate the Brontosaurus from the Brachiosaurus, because the Brachiosaurus
like
had that...
Diplodocus and...
Yeah, the Brachiosaurus had that big kind of lift on the head, and that's how you could differentiate them. But I think
they recently discovered a new one.
I think they've recently said that the Brontosaurus
was fake, but the Brachiosaurus
it's
was
one
real.
or the other. But I want to say
the Brachiosaurus was bigger.
Because I remember as a kid, I was like, the 30 most famous dinosaurs was the T-Rex, the Triceratops, and the Brontosaurus. But they're always learning new things, so they're like, no, that's not right. They changed the name. They recently just...
they just found something.
From Part 3, the Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park 3, they just found an almost completely intact tail of the Spinosaurus. And they're starting to think that it was more amphibious than they've given it credit for.
Yeah.
Because of that giant fin on its back, and it's wherever they just found that Spinosaurus tail, the region, they think that it spent a lot more time in the water. They think it was like a shark eating water, because of the fin and the
I thought the fin was for heat exchange. Like, there was a lot of
Well, they
blood
still
vessels
think
in
that it
there.
could be for, like you were saying, it could be for mating. They thought that it might change colors, like a peacock, to say that it was in heat, like a female.
Right.
So that group of those types of dinosaurs are called sauropods.
Yeah, those are sauropods. Yeah.
And they just...
four-legged dinosaurs are sauropods.
They last year they found one that had been misidentified in like a collection of bones or whatever.
DNA.
And apparently it was like the biggest one they've ever found.
On the tour.
Yeah,
The
that's why they were...
Titanosaur? You talking about the Titanosaur?
No, they call it a Massospondylus.
Well, that's what I was saying, yeah, with the Spinosaurus. So that's the whatever Hollywood name, but yeah, they're starting to think that those didn't run around like T-Rexes, that they actually were on all fours more than
Probably like lagoon creatures.
Yeah,
and
they
stuff,
probably ran on all fours, and they were amphibious. They would go into the water.
Oh, they're bringing up the concept that
because he found eggs.
They're hermaphroditic.
Yeah, he found hatched eggs. So
how the fuck do you not think about that? You're
your whole life.
sequencing DNA and creating. You're playing God.
Not one of those scientists.
And not
said,
one was like,
hey,
do you know that?
You know what these frogs do, right?
Like, we're gonna make them all. We're gonna make them all
There's
female.
the shot.
There it is.
There's the
sexy ass. Look at you, dog. God.
There's that famous shot.
Who do you think insisted on this scene? Who made this happen? It probably wasn't him.
He probably was like, hey,
No,
man.
he was brought in only to be.
He was probably like, hey, I worked out for this movie, you guys. Like,
He was
I
brought
gotta
in
take
to
my
be
shirt
cool.
off.
He was
Dude, we
brought
all
in
saw
to be
The Fly. He had six pack, and he wasn't worked out for this movie. This isn't ripped Goldblum.
No,
What was Sam Jackson doing around this time?
This was the beginning of his career.
It really was. Yeah.
He had been in.
He began like late in life.
He'd been in Coming to America at this
Hold on
point,
to your
and
butts.
maybe New Jack City.
Never shut down the entire system before.
Or no, he was in.
not
He
even.
was in Goodfellas.
Patriot Games.
Yes.
Goodfellas.
Yeah, Goodfellas.
True Romance.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he had that. Why? Your dumbass smoke enough, sure, man. You'll fuck it.
True Romance was like an indie film.
I know.
Yeah.
That was written by Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, but it was literally like a indie film.
The one scene, the one line he has before he gets shot in that movie, he's making fun of this dude talking about this guy says he eats pussy. He's like, man, he goes, you don't eat pussy? He's like, man, hell no, that's fucking
no.
shit's disgusting. He's like, are you fucking kidding me, man? He goes,
I
I eat the
realize that.
pussy, I eat the butt, I eat everything.
everything.
Yeah, that was Sam Jackson's
Got
line.
my technique down and everything.
I eat the pussy, I eat the butt, I eat everything.
And then 1 year after the release of this film, Pulp Fiction came out.
Reservoir and then Pulp. He got the Quentin
I thought Pulp was in '94.
Yeah, well, he did Reservoir Dogs before Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, but Sam Jackson. won it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm saying like Sam.
Okay,
1 year after this,
Yeah.
Sam Jackson was in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
And he blew up after that.
Oh yeah, that movie skyrocketed.
He blew up after that.
And now he,
Yeah, because then it was Die Hard with a Vengeance.
which is a good fucking movie.
It might be
The
my
Long
favorite
Kiss
Die Hard,
Goodnight,
actually.
which is a very underrated movie. The Long Kiss Goodnight, him and Gina Davis.
Jackie Brown, Spear, The Negotiator.
Sphere was another good fucking movie.
I actually think
Red
that-
Violin, that was a great movie.
I think actually technically right now, as it stands, I think Sam Jackson is the highest paid actor in Hollywood right now.
When he signed on to play Nick Fury, he signed like a 7-picture deal, and it was like the biggest
think technically
contract.
because of the Avengers right now,
Yeah.
he is the highest paid. I think.
He signed on for 7 films, which was unheard of at that time.
George Clooney.
No, come on.
Still got the biggest contract? Oh,
There's
yeah.
no way.
Well, I mean, Sam Jackson signed on for 7 pictures, so you got to kind of factor that into what George Clooney gets paid for one movie. He probably gets fucking $30 million a movie. This was the early test footage that they did.
Where it was just like the wireframes? Yeah.
That convinced Spielberg that CGI was the way to go.
No, Dwayne Johnson.
Well, I think technically The Rock is number 2.
You got to adjust for inflation, because I remember when Batman Forever came out, Jim Carrey.
And that's just what they brought in for the year.
Yeah, when Batman Forever came out, Jim Carrey was the highest paid actor of all time because he got $20 million to play the Riddler in that film.
Yeah.
That was the most money anybody had ever been paid for a single film.
No, Tom Cruise was already at $20 million.
No, that's Batman Forever. I'm talking about that was 1995. At that time, Jim Carrey got $20 million for making that. That was the biggest paycheck for an actor at that point in 1995.
You think Jim Carrey was in the 20 million club before Tom Cruise?
That's what I've always heard, that nobody had ever gotten paid that much money, because he was hot off The Mask and Ace Ventura, and they wanted him for the Riddler, and he got 20 mil for that. And somebody else, this is such a great shot. This obviously was the highest grossing movie to ever come out when it was released in theaters. When it hit the VHS...
It's like the quintessential summer blockbuster.
Yeah, before that, Jaws, obviously, was the first movie to ever be called a blockbuster.
Right.
But Jurassic Park shattered all records. When it hit VHS, it did $20 million in home video sales in America alone.
Let's see what they did
in America.
63
on
million.
$20 of VHS.
1.032 billion.
Yeah.
Was box office.
It was the
Jesus Christ.
Wait,
1 billion
worldwide. Yeah.
That's not adjusted either, is it?
I don't think so.
It maintained that.
That's like 2.4 billion.
Well,
now.
hold on. We were talking about the two biggest guys that like breaking ground, James Cameron and Spielberg. Yeah. This was the highest grossing film of all time by a fucking million miles, and it only got dethroned when Titanic. Yeah, which was 97. So 4 years. This
Jinx
held.
Poke, you owe me a Coke.
This held the record for 4 years until Titanic came out and shattered the record.
Yeah.
What did Titanic do? Let's see if how those.
It did over $1 billion.
Oh, what numbers?
Yeah, billions and billions. Because it held the record until James Cameron. No, never. I scratched that.
Actually, do you know what still holds a record if you adjust for inflation?
Something beat Titanic years later, and it wasn't something that you would have.
Avatar.
No, I think something before.
It was $200 million budget. 2.187 billion was box office for Titanic. So basically doubled it.
That's crazy. That means people went back and back and back and back to see that film over and over
again. If either
again.
one of you guys can answer my my trivia question, I will buy you one of those little tiny single servings, like the kind you get on the airplane, of Jameson, because we're all broke.
The highest grossing...
What do you think is the highest grossing film of all time to this date right now if you adjust for inflation?
I think I know it.
In American dollars, so I'm not counting foreign.
Casablanca.
No. Tim, what you got?
With adjusting for inflation?
If you adjust for inflation. If you adjust.
And it's not I want to say like fucking Wizard of Oz or some stupid shit.
I was gonna say
close,
that,
you're close.
motherfucker.
Gone with the Wind.
That was right. I was
Wind.
thinking that'd probably be it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not getting either one of you guys anything.
A fucking 4-hour movie too. That's crazy.
Fuck that movie. That's another one. If we do a everybody loves it but I hate it movie, Wizard of Oz. Fuck that movie.
You don't like Wizard of Oz?
Hey.
Or we're coming up on his famous
Ain't on
line.
Jurassic Park, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, we're coming up on the very famous line from this badass fucking actor.
What else has he been in? Tim, do you remember?
Well, I thought about it because, like I said, this was 93. He died in 1999 from cancer.
So he probably had cancer during this movie.
Yeah, probably.
Because that's how that
But
works.
he was... Because I remember I used to think... There was a character on Game of Thrones that I thought... I was like, is that dude from Jurassic Park? If he grew a beard and, his hair went gray? But obviously not because he died in 99.
Looks like Stannis Baratheon.
Yeah, exactly. He looked like
He does look like Stannis.
He looks like one
exactly
of the
like Stannis
It might have
Baratheon.
been Stannis. I remember seeing Game of Thrones and thinking that he was the same actor. But
He speaks just like Stannis.
he died
also.
in 99, so this is another thing they changed from the book. They made her very much more
like rock solid.
capable.
Yeah,
A capable
yeah.
female character. In the book, she was so sidelined. She had very, very little to do in the book. She kind of, when shit went bad in the book, she kind of just like stayed in the house and was like, I'm not going out there.
When I think of
British actor.
when I think of movies that like have the biggest departure from the books to the film in terms of adaptation, I always think of like Jurassic Park and Starship Troopers. Like those are the two I think about when I'm like, they're so different from
And
the
Rambo.
novel. Oh yeah, and yeah.
Yeah, he
That's
didn't
not
do
even
much
the
else.
same thing. I wouldn't even call that.
He was in the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. That's about it.
Oh, well.
Rest in peace. You played a hell of a role.
Well, you should have had more roles. God dang it.
There are just so many set pieces and scenes in this movie that are classic, that are locked into my head. That
Would you do this? I remember this scene always made me so fucking tense.
I would.
You're really rolling the dice. If you grab that, it's death. This is funny though.
Well, it's not the volts that get you; it's the amps. So that many volts, probably it wouldn't feel good, but it probably wouldn't kill
It would throw you back
I don't even think it would do that.
30 feet.
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah, okay, that thing, there's enough volts. It says, 10,000 volts.
Volts doesn't kill you; it's amperage.
Do you remember Jessica's?
It would stop your heart for a second.
Do you remember Jessica's taser that she had?
Yeah,
That she always
yeah.
used to like freak me out and torture
How
me
could
with?
I forget? Yeah.
That was 1,000,000 volts. That was 1,000,000 volt taser.
Yeah,
so these people are completely inept then.
No, it's the amps. It's the amps. But
It
like,
all depends on the
Jessica used to torture me with that shit because I hated the sound. It freaked me out.
Oh, dude,
But
yeah.
it was
yeah,
a 1,000,000 volt amp.
It would
Yeah,
stress
they
me
would.
out. This part was always really scary right here,
There
too.
was people that asked.
Death is likely.
This is one of the other than that beginning intro, this scene always kind of scared me.
It is really scary.
Not them. What Laura Dern's
Yeah,
going
in the
through.
hallways.
Yeah,
It is really scary.
but this is another like video game trope. Okay, you've got to go to this place and turn the power on to
Follow
open this
these
system,
pipes.
so we can open this door and you can get to the
They're,
next.
they're basically unplugging the park and plugging it back in.
yeah.
They're resetting the modem of the whole island.
They're tripping the breaker basically. So this was really tense because you're like, oh my god, if she flips that switch right now, they're gonna get fucking shot.
Oh yeah, they're gonna get fried.
Yeah. So the audience is sitting there going, fucking hurry up.
I mean, I love that how that function of like you're seeing two people do things and you're like, please hurry, like
Because she needs to be doing this, but you're like, oh man, if she knew that they were on that fence right now, she would wait a second.
Okay.
It's a movie trope called The Ticking Clock.
Yeah, ticking clock is a little.
It falls in line.
This is more of a.
It's a race against time. It's a,
definitely.
Yeah, it's a ticking clock.
But
there probably is an exact.
It's one of those things where the character in the movie doesn't know something, and you're screaming at the screen, going, "Oh no, don't do that! You're not. You don't want to do that."
Bro, come on, dog.
Just drop.
I hate electricity so much, but I
like, just
don't
drop,
care
I'll catch
about
you.
like heights at all. I'd just be like, cool, dropping down.
I'm not really scared of electricity. I'm scared of, well, no.
I hate electricity. I don't even like being static shocked. If it's dry outside and cold and I touch my car,
Oh, yes. Okay, so
my
yeah.
day's ruined.
They scroll down that we see, okay, she's hitting the buttons one at a time, and she's just fucking let go, like, oh my god.
It is. It's a race against time.
Yeah. But there's another name for
I'm looking it up.
a character doesn't have the information that the audience has, you know what I mean? So you're yelling, going, oh my god, if she knew what was about to happen, she wouldn't hit the button. That's another thing. When people get electrocuted, you don't see electricity.
Oh, you
Yeah.
Not like you see sparks and stuff, but not like it's not like you see their skeleton and their hair stands up.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like you don't actually see electricity.
finally, yeah.
Oh shit!
We finally see the raptor. What's the runtime right now? This is the first time we've seen the raptor.
Oh, it's definitely climax. This is third act all the way.
Yeah, and this is the first time we finally see a raptor. This right here. I don't know how they got a
how
PG.
was that PG,
Yeah,
dog?
I don't know how they got a PG rating.
Okay,
with
so
That's Sam Jackson's arm. dude.
apparently there was a scene, like a long scene where he's chasing, gets killed, but the hurricane destroyed the set, so they had to cut it.
Oh, Sam Jackson gets.
well,
chased.
yeah, that's what I was saying. A lot of the animatronic right there. Yeah, a lot of the deaths are off screen.
I've always thought that was kind of jarring, like that.
Other than the lawyer,
I always thought it
yeah,
was jarring that like Sam, he was like on the computer 1 second, like telling her how to do something in a separate place, and then all of a sudden his arm ended up there. I remember that being kind of jarring. So that's actually really cool to know that there was footage lost. Yeah.
yeah. Well, then they explain
'Cause
that
it
later.
doesn't make sense.
Well, they explain it later when the kids are in the kitchen. You're like, how the fucking raptors get in there with them?
Yeah.
And then you find out that they've learned how to open doors.
Right.
So you're like, oh shit, they saw him go in there and they fucking followed his ass. These things are fucking smart.
Which is another thing, like,
And then they
were
show
not smart at all.
They prove it again right here because they flank this dude.
Yeah, they're like pack hunting like
Yeah.
dogs, but they,
And he should have known that.
there's
This
no
this dude is badass, but he should
no,
have
there's
known.
no way he would have known that because they're fucking.
You could hypothesize
bro,
that they
they're
probably
dumbass
but
reptiles.
you could
dog.
hypothesize that they probably hunt like lions or fucking hyenas. They hunt in a pack.
I would never hypothesize that ever.
Well, have you ever seen a
I also would never wander into the woods to hunt a velociraptor.
exactly? That's what I'm saying.
See,
If
look
you-
how,
if-
man, that's fucking gruesome.
Well, if you-
I would stand at the fucking door.
If you've ever seen a nature documentary, one lion runs into the zebra pack to chase them towards the other lions
Yeah, but
that are
that's-
waiting in the tall grass.
Coyotes do that too.
You've got the three lions waiting in the tall grass. One shows himself so that all the zebras are looking, or the wildebeests are looking at this dude pacing, and then he chases them into a track.
Yes, but that's an incredibly smart mammal. And the
But
closest living relative to this thing that's evolved past it is a chicken.
Sure,
that
sure,
can
you
live
don't know.
without its head. It's so
Sure, you don't
stupid.
know for sure because we've never been around dinosaurs. But a guy like that's been
Oh yeah.
on the Serengeti. This guy's like a pro with hunting.
You'd be like Batman. You'd have like contingencies.
He
and
should have
shit.
been like, oh yeah, okay, I've never hunted raptors
He should have
before.
checked a 6.
But from my experience, yeah, the way predators, I've never
Yeah.
hunted raptors, but predators usually hunt in packs. You would surmise that raptors, being small,
Actually, only a couple predators hunt in packs. Like
Well-
wolves and lions. That's pretty much it.
wolves and lions, yeah,
That's pretty much it. I don't think any
yeah, I
other
guess.
thing.
Or coyotes. I mean, feral.
Coyotes are basically
you know,
wolves. Yeah.
Anything that runs in packs, they work together.
Dogs and lions. That's it.
Yeah, they're
Oh yeah. Well, I was
they're-
about to say doles, but that's a dog.
they're
so.
smart like that.
But them things are stupid, man. That's a big ass chicken. That's a big ass lizard chicken. That thing's stupid as hell.
Man, I'll punch a fucking lizard chicken in the
Dude,
fucking
I'll choke that motherfucker out.
gizzard.
I'll throw some KFC on the ground and it'd be like, oh shit. All right, cool.
Do they ever find? I don't think they ever find Homeboy's body.
Which one?
The guy that just died for the Raptors.
Oh, Sam Jackson? Is it?
No,
Oh,
no, no,
Oh, yeah,
Mulder-
the
no,
hunter-
he's
the
just
hunter. Yeah, he's.
Yeah, they never come across his body or
He
anything.
aten. He straight up aten.
There ain't nothing to find, yeah.
That electric shock was so hard it busted that kid's eardrums.
Yeah, I know.
Look
That's
it
what
up.
I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. He got jacked up.
Blew out his fucking ears.
But to this
I
movie's
think the
credit,
kid would still be fucking crying. He's probably got a fucking massive headache.
nah, he isn't trying, man. He's just making the best of the situation. To Zach's credit about electricity, the reason why he's not dead is because it was low amperage but high voltage, because it's essentially a livestock fence. It wasn't meant to kill anything, just kind of like be like, all right, back up.
Literally just kind of
T-Rex,
shock you into going, okay,
oh shit, all right, cool.
won't do that again.
Yeah, because it was meant to be a nuisance.
Yeah, so that they don't touch the fence.
This whole scene
Don't
in this
piss
kitchen,
on the electric fence.
Yeah, don't. This whole scene is like one of the most iconic scenes in cinematic history. People talk about this scene when it comes to like how to build suspense and how to build tension and like everything. You see it replicated in so many movies beyond this.
This is what they do a lot of good back and forth with the CGI and animatronics.
Oh, yeah,
because
for sure.
because this scene, I mean, it fucking definitely ramps up the tension because the two kids are alone.
Yeah.
There's nobody in there. Nobody has any idea that these kids are in danger right now. It's kind of like the scene in Aliens where Newt's asleep in the room
It's very much
by
like
herself,
that, yeah.
and Burt puts the facehugger in there.
It's very much like that, yeah.
And the whole rest of the team doesn't know that the child is in danger.
I can't even think of
See,
all.
why
I
they-
can't even think of all the movies that.
If
that
they
ripped
wouldn't
this
have put
off.
those kind of doorknobs on there, that wouldn't have
If
worked.
they'd have put round
if they just would have
ones?
put a regular ass fucking doorknob on there, but they had to put this giant bar that the Raptors could just push down.
Man, I'm trying to think of all the movies that have ripped this scene off, and I'm having a really hard time because there's so many.
Oh yeah, I love that sound. He's calling. See, he's calling to other Raptors, but why would?
Man, you ain't need no help.
I guess he knows that there is something in there. I like that they kind of pick at each other,
Pecking order, just like chickens.
or just I mean, when you see. When you
Did he say
when
that in that first scene that they're like a chicken or a turkey or something?
Yeah, they're basically just big.
I don't think they said it, but
chickens.
we said it. Yeah.
No, he mentioned something about that in
Really?
where they're at the dig.
Oh yeah, at the very beginning, yeah. Well, he says, raptor means bird of prey.
Oh, right.
There was a movie that basically,
And that might be why eagles still have really fucking sharp talons.
there was a movie recently that they basically ripped off this entire scene, but with something else.
There's been
That's-
a shitload of movies. That's what
See-
that's what I was saying. I can't even think of them because there's been so many.
Zach's always messing with his gadgets, and
It misses everything we say.
it has a. I want to say like, Scary Movie 5, did this,
No, dude, I'm talking mainstream movies like.
It was almost shot for shot. I just can't remember what it was.
I know cartoons have it's been parodied a lot. That's a really good CGI shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're into the last 15 minutes right here. Because they go up in the. We're about to get that big.
Diet freaked me out so much when I was a kid.
Oh, it's. Yeah, I guess they don't have a very great sense of smell because. Those kids are covered in fear and sweat.
No, they
right
probably
now.
don't. Reptiles don't really have a good sense of smell.
This always scared the shit. There's another shot coming up with her too, but this.
Oh yeah.
This shot. I remember the audience reacting to this in the theater, like people starting to scream, going, "No, no, 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 no!"
Dumbass reptile.
That's a good fucking director tricking his audience
It really
right there.
is, yeah.
That was a really good.
A lot of reptiles
Just kinda
they
showing that
smell
they're-
with
they're-
their tongue.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
snakes.
they're not very good at fucking smelling. Man, this is like stressing me out.
I know,
dude.
man,
It
like-
still stresses me out. And I've seen this a million times.
He's slipping. Yeah, dude, the way he zooms in to see the kid slipping, you're like, oh my god, no, 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 no.
Strong ass kid too.
Well, that was kind of smart. Did you see that? He opened up the door a little bit so that he could slam it, so that he could get a little bit of leverage, and it hit the raptor's head just hard enough for it to get annoyed and pull back, so that he could close the door. Smart. The little kid's pretty smart, man.
I don't know. These kids have the overwhelming.
It's okay. I've got a gun now.
They have the overwhelming advantage. Like, dude, these are like prehistoric creatures in a kitchen. They don't know what a pot is. They don't know what a stove is. They don't know what chrome
I'm glad they
and
didn't do.
stainless
I'm
steel
glad they
and
didn't do
shit.
something stupid like the kids picking up a knife or something, thinking that would protect them.
Should I throw some knives? I'll throw some pots.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'd grab a fucking iron skillet or something before I'd grab a
Dumbass
knife,
creature.
probably. They've got thick skin. Of course. And this is where, I remember earlier they said that she's really good with computers.
Little hacker girl.
Little hacker girl. Hacking was big. This is funny, though, the computer screen. But it's still not like completely hokey where you're like, oh, come on, this fucking girl is really gonna hack their security system.
It's pretty.
It's ludicrous and so far fetched. But you're so focused on them and those raptors at the door.
Well, no,
And
I mean,
I hate how she's propping the door. She's up against the
worst possible.
Yeah, that she's putting no leverage. He's basically doing that by himself because where she's at. She's sitting on the ground up against the wall.
But see, at this point of computer technology, in '93, like this was like the very beginning of, like computers used to just be a green screen with numbers and shit.
Yeah.
And this is the beginning of actually having windows
3D
and having a mouse. Like mouse was a new thing.
This still looks like the Lawnmower Man. You ever see the Lawnmower Man?
Yeah.
With the
This is like trying to do the opposite of what
Tech never
Alien did.
ages well.
Like Alien just made a terminal system flying halfway across the universe. They were trying to go the opposite direction and make like a visually based GUI graphical user interface system.
Security systems.
GUI.
So she get.
We got it.
So all these tech guys and scientists at the beginning of the movie when the hurricane hit couldn't figure this shit out. But that fucking
But she can.
that 12-year-old girl just did it
I mean,
in 60
she's
seconds.
a descendant of this guy, who is a immensely successful inventor, entrepreneur guy. He's like an Elon Musk kind of character.
Bro, Zach, are you trying to tell me that evolution exists? Because I don't think so.
Gonna go
I
through
don't know.
glass.
We said that
The
these
Earth
things
is
evolved.
6,500 years old.
We said that. Shut up.
There's no such thing as evolution, okay?
I didn't come from no monkey.
God put dinosaur bones in the ground to test our faith.
Doesn't
They're
that
not even bones, they're rocks.
isn't there a dinosaur Jesus place?
There's actually a movie called
Like New Mexico?
Velocipaster.
Oh God.
Yeah, there
It's-
is. It's awesome.
I want to watch
It's
it so
awesome.
bad.
Oh, that's so cool.
It just came out about a year ago. It's called Velocipaster, and it's a. I don't know. I want to know more. This is another amazing shot coming up when she falls.
Oh yeah, it really is.
When it jumps up, if you watch this part right here in 3D, right here, this part is amazing.
That
'cause
looks so good.
You really get the depth of this, and when it jumps, oh man, that
Dang, Laura Dern got cakes, man. I'm
watching
just saying.
She did another movie called what was it? With Clint Eastwood and Kevin Costner, where she was like a
Open range.
no. Kevin
Perfect World.
Perfect World. It's a fucking incredible movie.
Same year.
Yeah, as I say, yeah, if not the same year. Here, okay, here we go. Let's stay on target right here because this is a fucking amazing scene. Oh, and in Jurassic World, they revisit this place.
That's right.
Like
Yeah,
they-
they end it there.
It's all overgrown with foliage, and it was so nostalgia.
You know, I'll take back what I
what we
said.
were saying with Force Awakens. They only put it in there just to get the nostalgia feel from this film, and people going,
Sure.
"Oh, I remember that part from the end of the movie."
Jurassic World was fun to watch.
Yeah, it was fun.
I haven't seen the newest one, and I'm sure it's really horrible because
Well, they pushed really hard in the trailers and advertising that Jeff Goldblum's back.
yeah.
But he was only in the movie for like fucking 2 minutes. That's a good shot too. Her reaction when she hears the raptor. That's such a good shot. Some good animatronic. I think that girl got her role just because she screams really good.
they saw her in Tremors, and they were like, "Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it."
This is so fucking great because this just gets a standing ovation in the theater. I don't want to ruin it. We'll just watch this. Now, first of all, how did that T-Rex just sneak in there? They didn't see that T-Rex come in the front door.
He's our friend now.
They were preoccupied.
They were like, "Oh, look, that T-Rex is here."
They're so smart; they figure out how to open doors.
But when the fucking music swells,
Is there even a door big enough for that thing?
It's just so fucking cool. They're like, oh, the T-Rex showed up in the nick of time, which is a movie trope.
The big trope. The door is definitely not big enough.
Yeah,
the music.
After careful consideration, I've decided not to
endorse your part. Yeah, me too.
But this is great. Okay, we gotta listen to this fucking roar right here. Fuck yeah! Come on. I mean,
and then the banner.
Yeah. God, that shit gets me hyped.
That's why every kid of the '90s favorite dinosaur was a T-Rex.
They made him the hero.
Yeah.
And they did that even more in Part 3, where he fights the Spinosaurus.
Yeah.
And then in Jurassic World, he saves them from the new hybrid
amalgamation of Velociraptor and T-Rex and
the
shit.
Murdersaurus, the Psychosaurus,
whatever it was called. Yeah.
I'm gonna call it the Psychosaurus.
They put like the brain smarts of Velociraptors with the capability of like the Spinosaurus
and the speed of the Raptors. Yeah. There's a SNL skit I'm going to ask you to pull up when we're done with this, Zach.
Man is not
I think this is
as
my
good
favorite
of designer
theme.
as
the theme,
Nature
yeah,
Dog.
this theme right
Just
here.
the piano.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying earlier. The simple, the reprise when they were coming to the island, this song was playing, but it was all majestic and dun 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 dun. Now it's like
now it's all subtle.
I mean, every fucking time, man, I get chills.
Somber, like,
God, I'm getting chills when he looks out the window and he sees the birds, and it's like, man, she's looking hot for all that shit she just went through.
She looks a lot cleaner than the rest of them.
See, she's like, you will fuck me and give me some babies? You look good with them kids in your hand. Knock me up.
He's like, I hated kids when I started this journey, but now.
That right there.
So thank God they're not dinosaur birds.
There's something like hopeful about that theme right there, and just, guys, it's so iconic.
But that is a dinosaur.
Yeah, that's probably what they're.
Yeah, that's what they're inferring by
was the
zooming in
antithesis.
on the birds.
The pelican, yeah.
That was one thing that they brought in Lost World. Or no, I think they did it mainly in the third one. We never saw any pterodactyls or flying ones.
I don't know if they're in the second one. I don't know.
It's the third one.
Yeah.
There's an attack scene.
Well,
and there might have been a line in this where they say we didn't do any of those because we were afraid that they'd get off the island.
Yeah.
I am so glad we did this movie.
It was your pick, man. You want to start it off?
I mean, that's really it. Like, I'm so glad we did this.
Produced by Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, of course.
She was Spielberg's right-hand girl.
It's like, I know we try to stay away from like the big blockbusters and stuff, but like,
it deserved it.
This movie, there's so much fun things to talk about. It was so monumental in my life. I'm happy we did it. I had a great time. It's in watching it in the lens that we view movies through in movie night. It's a master work. Like there's probably some small mistakes, but like every scene has intention. Every shot is amazing. There's so much depth and detail to everything, and it's a masterwork. It's a classic film. Like, other than being a blockbuster and being just like a crazy adventure movie about dinosaurs, it's an amazing film.
You said it's historic? Would you say it's prehistoric? Oh! Dean... He got to use his button.
Completely forgot.
I just saw that Dean Cundy worked on this too. He did matte paintings and stuff in The Thing.
Oh yeah, he sure did.
That's connection right there.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, that's all I gotta say. I'm stoked. I'm happy. I loved it. I had a great time. Tim,
I'll go next. I want to let Tim likes to have the last word. And I appreciate that. So, I'll go ahead and say it.
Sound like you'd be talking to every ex-girlfriend I've ever had.
Hey.
Tim always wants the last word.
Well, we're pretty much dating, but that's okay. I love this movie too.
Cheers to Stan Winston.
Cheers to him.
Rest in peace, Stan.
You know, I'll actually go ahead and take this little time to say this little 20-second thing. So I didn't spend much time on Tinder in my whole life, but the one time that I actually did message somebody on Tinder, I messaged her because she said that she graduated from Stan Winston's School of Effects, and I literally just like messaged her. Was like, "Did you actually go to Stan Winston's? Like, that's fucking badass.
Tell me everything." Yeah.
And she just texts back like, "Yep, it was really fun." And
it's like, I'm not even trying to have sex with you. I just let
it go. I just let it go right there. I was like, that's really cool. Anyway, I love this movie. I always have. This movie is probably the best example of like movie's holding up against time. This movie is timeless, and it's timeless because it's well written in a way where it's not gratuitous on any of the effects. They actually don't even linger on any of the animatronics. It's a character-driven movie about people more than dinosaurs. It just so happens to have dinosaurs in the environment, and I think that really shows through. And it's required viewing. Everyone listening to this right now already knows. Like, if you're in the Philippines, you've seen this movie. If you're in Libya, where we're really big, you've seen this movie. And that's all I gotta say about it. So I'll pass it to Tim.
Yeah, this is the first huge blockbuster that we've done. I'm glad Zach picked it because this is a fun movie, and I'm just reiterating what y'all are saying. I will say that over the last couple things that we've recorded over the last few weeks, I'll say right now that I'm very, very proud of this episode. I'm proud of all three of us.
Yeah.
I think this is probably one of our better episodes that we've done in quite some time because we all love it so much. We all had a lot to say about it, the nostalgia fact.
But we also didn't suck his dick too much.
Yeah, well, we sucked it a little bit, but not gratuitously.
Oh, we sucked it.
We weren't gratuitous.
This is kind of like
all the dick sucking was off screen.
This was also almost kind of a PG episode.
Left up to your imagination.
It was.
But in this sense of like it's PG, but probably should have been PG.
Well, and I think I subconsciously was PG because I know my daughter's going to want to listen to this one day because she's such a huge dinosaur fan. I think I subconsciously
unintentionally pulled off a PG.
Well, we didn't go off on our rants that we do because there was just so much love involved in this film and a lot to talk about that we didn't have time to.
Skywalker Sound, look at that.
Yeah, Skywalker Sound, Lucas. So yeah, I'm happy with it. I love it. I would like to maybe start doing some more blockbusters like this because there's just nothing wrong with this film.
I agree.
And everybody should watch it and teach your kids about dinosaurs, man, because they're fucking cool. Dinosaurs are rad. And Jeff Goldblum is my friend. I got his number. I'm not going to do anything with it.
All right, so I guess for our rating, I'm assuming that we're all cheersing it. So it's.
I mean, I'm giving it.
We cheersing.
I'm giving it. That's damn cheers.
Three cheers up from.
Three cheers to Jurassic Park.
Hope y'all had half as much fun as we did doing this. Cheers.